A challenge from the president.
Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
Each claims to have won their two debates in the 2020 race. Trump campaign National Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox News,
"We are pleasantly surprised that Joe Biden has finally accepted and acknowledged President Trump's challenge to debate him. We have long been saying President Trump is ready to do this anytime, anywhere, any place."
The first debate set for June 27th at CNN's Atlanta headquarters. ABC to host the second debate September 10th. No word yet on the moderators. President Biden just a short time ago at an annual Capitol Hill event in honor of slain officers.
Being a police officer is not just what you do. It's who you are.
Adding that being a cop is a lot harder than it's ever been. A group of House Republicans just proposing to hike tariffs on Chinese-made drones by 30% and to bar certain Chinese drone imports by the year 2030. That's a day after the Biden administration announced higher tariffs on some Chinese goods, including electric vehicles. Slovakia's prime minister in life-threatening condition after being shot in public.
Robert Fico's official Facebook profile says the Slovakian Prime Minister was shot multiple times and his life is in danger. The statement adds, the next few hours will decide. The 59-year-old, who was elected into power for a fourth time last year, was meeting supporters in Handlova, 90 miles from the capital Bratislava. Several shots were heard, with Prime Minister Fico reportedly hit in the stomach. Security services were seen shoving a suspect into a car.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Russia's president calls the shooting a monstrous crime, writing in a telegram to Slovakia's president that there can be no justification. America is listening to Fox News.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password,
for you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated US-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to lifelock.com.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream, but it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Pretty nice Wednesday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. 75 should do it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. Evening temperatures take a slow drop out of the 70s into the upper 60s. Clouds moving in after midnight. It's dry tonight. 58 for the low. Thursday, mostly cloudy with increasing showers and thunder showers. 78. Periods of showers and thunder showers Thursday night and Friday, but nothing severe. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Say hello to Lumi, the whole-body deodorant developed with your whole body in mind. Pits, privates, and beyond. It's outrageously effective and clinically proven to block odor all day, anywhere you have body odor and wish you didn't, and keeps controlling odor up to 72 hours. Lumi is different. Developed by an OBGYN, Lumi goes beyond masking odor to control body odor in a way certain other deodorants and soap don't. Start controlling body odor everywhere, not just armpits. Experience whole-body freshness from Lumi Whole Body Deodorant today. Go to LumiDeodorant.com to be the best-smelling you of all time. There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 203 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 203. Like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 203 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 203 to save 15% today. LumeDeodorant.com.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AA MCO.
Mark Cox here. Did you know that over half the appointments Wonder World will set this year are either previous customers or referrals from those customers? That tells you all you need to know about Window World. One thing that separates this company from the pack is that commitment to customer service and their excellent track record with both the Better Business Bureau and other reporting agencies. I am a satisfied customer. I love their lifetime warranty, and in just over 20 years of business, they've helped over 72,000 customers in St. Louis improve the look and the thermal efficiency of their homes. Right now, Window World is offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. That is a great deal. Call them right now. Get a free home estimate, 314-993-1800. They'll show you why they are simply the best for less. That's 314-993-1800, 993-1800, or go online to windowworld.com.
Shop with the experts. Get a 5-carat certified colorless tennis bracelet for $1,650 set in 14-karat gold. Plus, get 10% off when you use code RADIO10 at cleanorigin.com or one of our 6 locations. Again, code RADIO10 at cleanorigin.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, happy Wednesday. Hope you're free on Wednesdays. Thanks for being here on the Annie Fry Show. Quite a day for Joe Biden to come out with a challenge of sorts. Was this video posted last night? I can't remember when I first saw the video.
I saw it this morning, and it had like 4 minutes left on or 4 minutes old on the tweet.
Okay, so I guess it was this morning, but I was up early watching things on Twitter. This is what Joe Biden threw out this morning to Donald Trump.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
I wonder if Joe Biden knows why he's free on Wednesdays. I'm not confident. It's a very spicy and lively challenge to Donald Trump from Joe Biden, which are words that aren't traditionally used in the same sentence as Joe Biden. So good for him.
Well, he did say he wanted to get under Trump's skin. So
I don't know how that is going to go down. Here's one of the campaign spokesmen for Joe Biden, Michael Tyler, about the debate.
Don't have anything to read you out on insofar as any prep. I can say right now that we are ready to debate in June. We are ready to debate in September because the American people deserve to see this. So we are ready to go. We're waiting for proposals, and we will accept them when we have some that fit what we have laid out this morning.
So they're ready to go. There's a June and a September date that has been set out. I'm really surprised by the June date. That actually kind of shocks me. When Donald Trump, I think it was when Donald Trump previously had come out and said to Joe Biden, I'll debate you anywhere, anytime, under any terms. And everybody's been saying, and for good reason, I understand why, that Joe Biden is not going to debate. I was going to say date. That either. Joe Biden is not going to debate Donald Trump. Well, it sounds like Joe Biden is putting it out there that he is. So they're not going to hold the idea. You can't say right now that Joe Biden is unwilling to debate Donald Trump. Now, the YouTube poll for today was going to be, will there be a debate? Because I still think that that's a valid question. I don't think that we are in a position right now where we know for certain that we are going to see a Trump-Biden debate. But I think that you can look at the details from today and understand yeah, we're closer to an actual debate. Joe Biden doesn't look like he's backing down. I think that this is a disastrous decision for Joe Biden, but I think choosing not to debate Donald Trump would be a worse decision for Joe Biden. And as long as he has what he took during the State of the Union, he'll have the energy that he doesn't have on a normal day to participate in this debate. Our YouTube poll for today is not, will there be a debate? But the YouTube poll is, can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? Now, what are those terms? Peter Doocy was just reporting from the White House lawn about some of those terms that have been set forth.
Yeah, but what about RFK Jr.? Well, a key advantage for the Trump and Biden teams, if they go around the way that candidates have been doing it for decades with the Commission on Presidential Debates, is they don't have to have all qualifiers. They can go one-on-one.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
And they've picked 2 dates in June and September. The Commission on Presidential Debates cut out, now saying our 2024 sites, all locations of higher learning, are prepared to host debates on dates chosen to accommodate early voters. We will continue to be ready to execute this plan. And there is some more fine print. The Biden team wants microphones only turned on when it is a candidate's turn to speak. And the 2 teams are on opposite sides of audiences. Trump is saying, I would strongly recommend more than 2 debates and, for excitement purposes, a very large venue. Although Biden is supposedly afraid of crowds, that's only because he doesn't get them. Just tell me when, I'll be there.
So President Trump making this statement on Truth Social and putting it out there. And the terms that you've heard here so far, Brad, are that the Commission on Debates, they've been cut out. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
I don't care about them being at. I would like it to be at WashU so we get one.
Yes, that would be great.
Which is where the "you'd be in jail" comment came from Donald Trump, I recall, to Hillary Clinton. So no commission on presidential debates or whatever it is. I think that is an absolute non-issue for Donald Trump, because I don't think that I think they hate Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't feel as though they're not going to work to protect Joe Biden. They don't want an audience. I don't love that, but there are times where if it feels like you're at a rally, that it takes away from the substance of the discussion. So you got your Trump people in the audience, you got your Biden people in the audience, and they know. I mean, just look at the Joe Biden speeches that he's giving, where he goes through and he mumbles completely incoherent thoughts, and then everybody on cue. And it's like, do you even know what you're applauding for? Did the applause light come on and you just did what you're supposed to do? I mean, the please clap moments for Joe Biden debates, they just do what they're told. They know what it's influential. It's not reactionary. I think Donald Trump does well with a crowd, but I think that in an audience, like, I don't know that, I know that they're saying Trump wants an audience. But if there's an audience, I would rather Donald Trump focus on the issues that are in front of him, the opponent that is across the stage from him, and the issues at hand, because that's, in my opinion, the way you focus on the broader American voter. Not just the thing that's going to get, like, Donald Trump is really good at rallies. He's really good at crowds. Joe Biden, we don't know because he never gets them. But if you look at Donald Trump in a way that he is out there making statements that are going to really get a reaction from the crowd, I don't think that as a viewer, that really does something for me. I could be wrong. But if I want to watch a Trump rally, I can watch a Trump rally.
Right.
I can find those. I think this is different. And the cut mics thing, that I think the Biden side is saying that they want, when one person's making a point or the other, they want the other microphone to be cut. I got to be honest. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. The thing is they want Joe Biden to finish a coherent point is kind of like what they're getting at.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. Yep. And again, I think they might be exposing Joe Biden by doing that, because what they're trying to take away from Trump here is the stuff that people don't actually like about Trump in a debate. It's the stuff that Trump got in trouble for doing in that first debate. Interrupting, badgering, beating on him, basically more or less playing to an audience. And if they take away an audience, if they take away his ability to interrupt Joe Biden, well, Joe Biden's points are going to have to stand on his own. And you said earlier that he just kind of mumbles through them a lot of times, and then people automatically clap. So Joe Biden won't have the audience support either.
This would be a good poll question. So remind me this when I'm struggling the next time. Whose skin is easier to get under, Joe Biden's or Donald Trump's?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I think it's Joe Biden.
I would lean Joe Biden, yeah.
I feel like it's easy to rattle Joe Biden because he can't string together a good response in a fast enough way to make the sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he just has the emotion of it. And I believe that Joe Biden feels that he knows that emotion matters, and it does matter, but I don't think people believe him. They don't, it's not empathy.
Yeah.
When Joe Biden gets angry, when a president is speaking to people and, gosh, what was it that he said when I got my first Biden bingo? Biden yells is on our bingo card, which, by the way, we are going to have the best debate bingo.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be great.
Yes. I will put this together so that we can all have our cards. Last time we played Biden bingo was the State of the Union, and we had like near 500 cards of people who claim their cards. We will have new ones for you. But he yells when he's done making like a content point. He just he goes overboard with emotion. But it's not emotion where I'm like, yeah, I feel that anger too, Joe Biden. I just kind of lean back in my chair when fine, I'll get off your lawn. I think, I don't know if it's, I know what you're thinking. I know, but I'm going to say it anyway. It feels like divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
That on the campaign trail, one of our poll questions Monday was, or maybe it was yesterday, is Donald Trump doing better in the polls with the trials or without the trials? And I think he's doing better with the trials.
Yeah.
And I think that the gag order from Judge Merchan is almost an in-kind contribution to the Trump campaign, because the things that are so easy for the people who are neurotically disgusted by Donald Trump, the Michael Cohens of the world, when Trump can't do the things that Trump does to rally his base, he also can't do the things to rally the anti-Trump base. And the fact that he's off the campaign trail because of what the Democrats are doing through lawfare, the fact that he's not, I think that the Democrat Party, I think that the people in the Biden campaign want Donald Trump out there speaking freely as much as they possibly can. Because then Donald Trump becomes the subject of conversation.
Yes.
Now, with Donald Trump on the sidelines, it is a little bit more of a referendum on Joe Biden. And when people look around, they go, I don't really love this. This isn't good for me. And when Donald Trump isn't giving you a daily jab or mean tweet, he's doing truth. Like, again, he's not on Twitter. He's on Truth Social. His base is there. It's doing well for him. But he's not in a position because they've taken it away from him. He can get back on there now, but Twitter took that away from him. Every time these people try to take something away from Donald Trump, I think it makes him stronger. And it kind of keeps him from doing the things that cause himself to get himself in trouble with the people who might be the fence sitters in the upcoming election. The gag order is keeping him from saying things to take away from the lawfare election interference repetitive message from the Trump campaign, which I believe. I subscribe to that. I think that he's right about that. So the on-message point for the Trump campaign is that look at what the Democrats are willing to do to ensure that they don't lose power. What are they so afraid of happening if they were to lose power? And then you take these debate rules, and while I understand why the Biden administration is doing all of these, because it is not, they are going to have to set some significant terms in order for Joe Biden to have a fighting chance, in my opinion. But the idea that you take the commission out, when have we seen a presidential debate? How many debates do you have to go back? I mean, literally all of the ones in my lifetime, the moderators are a joke. The setting is a joke. The coverage is a joke. What is the commission offering us? Maybe I'm missing something here. Totally open to the fact that someone can go, oh, well, Annie, X, Y, and Z, and I'd change my opinion on it if I were more informed about something that I'm not aware of right now. But I do not think that the commission being involved is a nonpartisan asset to both parties. Watching Donald Trump up on a stage while Joe Biden is trying to muddle through, like, think about this for a second. You got the two of them up there. Joe Biden's asked a question. It's Joe Biden's time. Donald Trump, his mic is off. The camera's on Joe Biden. And he's struggling through his answer, stumbling over his words. Does Donald Trump need to interject in that point in order for the point to be made? No. In fact, he'd be stepping on the point. I don't think that the cut mics at the end of the day are going to be a bad thing for Donald Trump. I think it actually might keep him between the navigational buoys.
Yep.
And the fact that there's no audience there, it will help, in my opinion, keep the focus. If you had a Trump favoring crowd in the audience at this debate, and they were hooting and hollering when Donald Trump said something, delivered the "you'd be in jail" line to Hillary Clinton, when he did that stuff to Joe Biden, it would start to feel like bullying an old man. There would be a level of sympathy that would set in for some people that Donald Trump was doing the mean bully thing, and taking the audience away really takes away the encouragement for Donald Trump to really land those blows to get the immediate gratification of validation from a crowd that cheers. So I actually think that these points take this and bring it back more squarely focused on the American people. And I think that that favors Donald Trump because the American people are not happy with the referendum on Joe Biden right now. I haven't heard many people. I think people are laughing at these terms because they understand why Joe Biden is doing it. But hey, if Joe Biden is willing to go be on a stage with Donald Trump, we need to let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump has to win in the speed trap that Donald Trump travels in. Everybody else gets to do what everybody else wants to do, but Donald Trump is living his life in the speed trap, and he knows it. And if you're going to speed in the speed trap and you know the speed trap is there, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't speed in the speed trap. You can still get to your destination. You have to start a little earlier. You have to work a little harder. You have to prepare a little bit more. You have to be a little more organized. But if that's the state of the country that you have to fight to win, then you have to do it. And if Donald Trump can't win under these terms, he can't win the presidency. This is a state of affairs in American politics right now. Just look at where the president is, except for when he's free on Wednesdays. Let's take a quick break. I want to know what you think. We'll read some of your comments when we get back from a quick break here. Russell said, yes, Biden has absolutely nothing to defend on his presidency. Bidenomics, not so much. Energy prices, border, crime. What can he possibly say except we just don't realize how good we have it, which is something that he has said quite a bit. Ender said, I mean, can Trump win such a debate? Sure, but it really depends on who you ask. Anti-Trumpers will say he lost no matter what. Pro-Trumpers will say he won no matter what. Also true, Ender. Let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come give us a hi and hello on the YouTube. Vote in the live poll chat there and leave us a comment. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I want to talk to you about Air Comfort Service and how easy it is to connect to them so that they can help you get your HVAC system all taken care of, tuned up, replaced, womp womp. If you have to go through that, I understand that's a bummer. I've had to do it myself. But when you do, you want to make sure that you're investing in a good quality HVAC system for your home. You're not overpaying, and you get access to any deals you can to make it a little more affordable. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Stick that number in your phone right now in the event that you need to make an HVAC call. You want to make sure you have the right people. What Air Comfort Service is always working hard on doing is connecting you with any discounts that are available to you for such a service. You can save up to $4,200 with double carrier cool cash rebates on qualifying systems. And also, you can qualify for 0% financing for up to 72 months. There might be extra utility rebates and tax credits that you're eligible for as well. Like I said, give them a call at 314-513-0091. Mention the Annie Fry Show when you give them a ring. AirComfortService.com.
Hello, Mike Carter here. I wonder if you knew that after the purchase of the Louisiana Territory in 1804, a formal three-flag ceremony was held in St. Louis to mark the transfer. The Spanish flag lowered and the French tricolor raised. That in turn was lowered the next day and the flag of the young Republic of the United States stood tall. I'm Mike Carter of Carter Law Offices here, and at that moment the people living here went from being subjects to being citizens of a great free nation. Jump ahead 220 years to what we have become, and over 6 million men, women, and children now call Missouri home. Our largest cities are an economic powerhouse, and our small towns and family farms remain the heart of the nation. A friend wrote me one time at Carter Law Offices, "Hey, Mike Carter, why don't Missouri residents show their pride by flying our state flag more often like the folks in Texas?" I was like, that's a really great idea. And I was thinking, maybe anybody who's listening to this, if you want to send me an email at mike@carterlegal.com with your name and address if you're okay doing so, and I'll send you a free state flag, and you can hang it out on your front porch and show everybody you're as proud of Missouri as I am.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. ramp.com/free.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
It's what's happening
And there's still no evidence whatsoever connecting Trump with any criminal wrongdoing.
right now.
U.S. weapons aid will not go to Israel.
Keeping you informed.
We have no leadership from Joe Biden.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Don't my baby look good in them blue jeans, tied on the top with a belly button ring, a little tattoo somewhere in between. She only shows to me.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
She's ready tonight. So damn good looking, boys, it ain't even right. And when the bartender says for the lady, what's it gonna be? I tell him, man, she ain't into wine and roses. Beer just makes her turn up her nose, and she can't stand
absolutely. I've been trying to get, he's issuing it. I wonder whether or not he shows up because, he also challenged me to golf. So I'm a very good golfer. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He said, I'll give him 3 aside. But he knows he'll never play. This is sort of like that, I think. But I hope not, because I really think he has to debate. He might as well get it over with. Probably should do it early so that he can, he's not going to get any better.
No, but June and September is
every
great.
day is a down factor for him.
June and September would be great if you can agree on the size of the table and the moderators.
Well, why don't you look at the statement? I just put out a statement. You should have it on your hot wires. You get everything. I notice you get things very quickly. I put it out on Truth, and Truth is the hottest thing right now.
Donald Trump, speaking with Hugh Hewitt. Do you remember didn't Hugh Hewitt do a debate where Donald Trump was present? It might have been 2016, and he was like, "Your ratings suck, Hugh Hewitt." Am I remembering that incorrectly? I'm pretty certain, because I remember being like, Hugh Hewitt is like the conservative on the panel, and Trump is not being so flattering to him. But that just goes to show you the relationships that Donald Trump has and the punches he's willing to throw over the course of time and then bury the hatchet. Man, it is something I often need to have who's in with Trump and like a circle. I need a chart. And inside the circle is people who Donald Trump is currently okay with, and outside the people he's not. It seems as though he is fluid on his relationships with people, and especially people in the media. So Donald Trump has agreed today to debate Joe Biden on Joe Biden's terms. And as you were hearing their conversation there with Hugh Hewitt, a June date and a September date. And Brad, I don't know if you recall this, when we were listening to Donald Trump and he was kind of given the throwdown initially, I don't know, months ago, about we need to do these debates. They need to happen. You name the place. Like Donald Trump cleared everything off the table to say,
anytime, anywhere.
Let's go. We did a poll, I think it was the next day, and it was, will they debate? And my recollection is it was well over 50% of y'all said no.
No.
And I said yes, I did. I said yes, because my expectation was, and sort of is at this point, I don't know how it's going to shake out with the June date, is that after Donald Trump made that demand that the debate must happen and Joe Biden can set the terms of the debate, that the terms would be the last week of October.
Yeah.
They would be ridiculous, with a moderator who is ridiculous, and everything would be set up against Donald Trump, and it would be set to happen well after voting had fully commenced in full swing, because it's an election season. I think it's like 40 days at the most. And this kind of shakes up that theory a little bit. I do believe that they're going to debate. My expectation was that Biden would agree to do a debate, and it would make it the least consequential it could be to the actual voting outcome. And I don't know how this shapes up. The September one, I think voting will have started by September, maybe. It depends on when in September, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna happen?
The debates?
Yeah. Because you were a no, right?
Yeah, I was
Previously.
a no. I think all parties involved are serious about the debates happening now. I think that provided there's no medical emergency or anything like that, that these debates will go forward. I can't imagine, because I think really if the Joe Biden campaign really wanted Donald Trump to duck out of it and they wanted to spin this, they would make some poison pill demands. You said any place, anywhere, and he bailed out on us, and we didn't tell him no, but the terms would have been awful. But these aren't awful terms. These are actually decent terms.
All Donald Trump has to do is stay within himself.
Yes.
He doesn't have to sink Joe Biden's ship. He needs to get out of the way while Biden sinks his own.
Yep. That's exactly, like you were talking about this in the first segment. This is almost the reverse basement strategy, where Biden ran the basement strategy. Trump was out there campaigning, doing his thing. And all Biden basically did was let Trump sink his own campaign. And this is the exact opposite of that. Trump needs to show up, say, well, you guys know what the economy's like. You know what happened in Afghanistan. You know all this. You know all that. Biden's got to defend his record. And then Trump says, well, look at my record. Look at my jobs numbers pre-pandemic. Look at all of this.
What's the biggest downfall? What's the biggest negative that Joe Biden has?
His biggest negative?
What is the worst part of Joe Biden, the president?
It's got to be the economy. It is the most directly impactful thing.
I don't know that it is. I think it might be his age and his demeanor. And you don't need to do anything to point that out. I think that people see how he is before they listen to what he has to say. I mean, they know how they feel about the way, from an issue standpoint, you're 100% right on that. If Joe Biden gets all juiced up and hopped up and some of that goes away, that some of the confusion, the listlessness, the mumble, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. That's what that type of crap that he says. If some of that goes away because he's sped up in whatever capacity he used to speed up, that is going to be very obvious too. People are going to know. Like, I think that they went to 11 at the State of the Union to the point where it was like, you could go to anybody who, and like, what percentage of American people watch the State of the Union? More people will watch this debate. But anybody who watched the debate, there were two stories. He wasn't Sleepy Joe, and he did the whole speech. I guess three stories. He said Lincoln Riley. People don't remember what he said during that speech. People didn't listen to that speech and feel like there's a bright America ahead. People didn't listen to Joe Biden's bully pulpit standing in front of all of Congress and go, I'm refreshed that this man is in charge. I think that Donald Trump's State of the Unions were some of the best speeches that he gave. They were organized. They were hopeful, especially the earlier ones. They were presidential in a way that Donald Trump isn't traditionally presidential. Joe Biden, the bar that was set for Joe Biden was to show up and to finish the speech.
Yep.
And he did, but it was so jarring. He was speaking so fast. His eyeballs were like popping out of his head. And every single time, go watch the speech again. Nobody's going to do that. But go watch the speech again. Every time he goes off script, he gets dramatically lost. A debate is not the same. You can't script and read a debate. He can't read anything anyway, but it is not the same thing. Will he have the questions? I don't know. We've seen the people who put these debates together backdoor the questions, Donna Brazile, Hillary Clinton, so that the presidential candidates get tipped off. We've seen that before. That we should expect for that to happen again.
Yeah.
I in no way, I mean, it's happened before, and Donna Brazile wasn't even apologetic for it.
No.
Everything is going against Donald Trump. But like, what's new? That's the world Donald Trump lives in. And as he said, they're doing it to him because they're trying to do it to us, and he's just in the way. There is a lot of truth to that. And if you think about how this debate could transpire, there's some conversation taking place in our YouTube chat right now as to whether or not, as Joe Biden said, he really did win those first two debates. My opinion is Donald Trump did not win that first debate where he was enraged and mean. He didn't.
No,
it was terrible advice or terrible execution.
Yeah, he looked like a pit bull mauling a helpless old person.
I remember sitting in my basement watching that and going, what are you doing? Stop. You're taking all of the attention away from the issues at hand, and you're making, like, the story here, just like the State of the Union for Joe Biden. The story was that he was on, like, I keep saying on speed, but that's not we don't know he was on speed. He was definitely on something. A little too many Red Bulls there.
PEDs.
PEDs, yes.
Presidential enhancing drugs.
PESs. Presidential enhancing substances. The story was that he did the speech and he was not Wandering Joe. That was the story. And that was sufficient because you can still watch, like, Chris Coons go on to a Sunday morning show and they're like today, like next Sunday, they'll be like, what do you think about Joe Biden? He'll be like, I just think back to that State of the Union speech and how strong and put together and on point he was. And I was just really proud. It's like it's May It's the middle of May, and you're like, the State of the Union was a high point. And we're like, exactly. That was the high point. When it comes to a debate, Joe Biden is going to have to react. I think that it is easier to get under Joe Biden's skin than it is Donald Trump's. I think Donald Trump is more practiced at it. It's the only thing that happens to him. Maybe he is a little trigger happy sometimes to fire back before he measures the situation and responds with a little more. But I mean, Donald Trump, speaking directly to you, you know this. You are a charming man. You are a kind man. Everybody says this about you when we're talking about relationships that you've had with people who have worked with you, who've been around you, who've visited your properties, who've had experience with you. They all say the same thing, that you are shockingly charming and attentive and kind. This will be your opportunity to take the camera in front of you in that debate and charm the American people while Donald Trump shows the world who he is in all of these private instances. This will be the opportunity for you to do this publicly. And Joe Biden will be over there, either a bumbling mess or a sped up version of his bumbling mess in his dirty, hairy, make my day attitude. Everybody will see this. He's either going to be who he is, which everybody knows what that looks like, or they're going to once again exemplify to the world what they have to do to the president so that he can perform. 4 more years? Are you kidding me? He can't do 4 more minutes after those substances wear off. What I'd like to see him do is have back-to-back debates where you do one day and one the other and see if Joe Biden can do 2 in a row.
Back-to-back. Oh, man.
Can't do it. Let's find out what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? Yes or no? We've listed some of the terms, which include no presidential debate commission involvement at this time. They want the mics cut when one person's answering the question and the other one isn't. No audience present. Those are some of them. 1 in June, 1 in September. Can Trump win a presidential debate like that? Let us know what you think at the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We're broadcasting live there, and the live chat is where the poll is. And leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Dirk says, I chose yes. The only caveat would be if one of the President Biden's terms would be that Trump wouldn't be allowed to listen nor talk at all during the debate. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. What do you think? Let us know on the chat. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Mustang, 4 on the floor, and you ought to hear the pipes ring. I jump behind the wheel.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Hey, if you have rental properties and you need to get them rented again because they're vacant, call Rapid Rental Renovations. They know your business. They're not going to overcharge you for things you don't need because that's what they do. They do rentals. I've been in this situation many times. I do rentals myself where a tenant moves out and they just don't leave it in great shape. Sometimes they've really torn it up. Other times it's just, normal wear and tear. They're not treating the place the way that you would treat your place, for instance. And you just need somebody to go in and spruce it back up. So whether it's like everything needs to be done, everything in the world, and you're like, this is going to cost me months of no tenants, or it just needs to be cleaned up and painted a little bit or something like that, Rapid Rental Renovations has got your back. Sean and Kristen know your business. I've gotten bids from them. They will do everything for you, and the bids will be right in line, if not better, than your buddy who's going to do this stuff, or even yourself because you're going to cost more time. They can do it quick. Rapid Rental Renovations, everything that I have just said and everything that they do is all in one place, and that is murphycleanoutservices.com. Get everything right there. That's their website. Even if you don't need it right now, put it in for later. murphycleanoutservices.com.
Mark Cox here. Did you know the Rockwood School District is a great place to work? They're currently hiring school bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodial staff, as well as summer positions for mowers and landscapers. They have openings in Adventure Club, which is before and after school care. They offer competitive pay, flexible work hours, and a rewarding work environment. Discover the Rockwood Advantage and join an amazing team. Go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs.
There's a sign I keep in my office that reads, "Remember where you came from." Well, Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. We all remember where we grew up, the schools we attended, and the streets we played on, and the friends we made. The Carter family has deep roots in Missouri. There was a Civil War captain from St. Charles County who became sheriff of Lincoln County. My own grandparents had a farm down in Carter County where I spent a couple boyhood summers riding a pig, to and fro. For myself, Mike Carter, I was raised in North County, and before you ask, I went to Hazelwood West High School. Growing up, my parents taught me that if I studied and worked hard, good things were sure to follow. And like many of you, I went to Mizzou, working my way through college, bussing tables, driving for UPS. Then I graduated law school, founded Carter Law Offices, and serve now as a municipal judge and general counsel of the largest employer in St. Charles County. But I never forget North County, where I came from, and the people and places that we all remember that make us who we are. Go to MikeCarter.com and check out some interviews from some other people across the great state of Missouri.
Do you have any idea how much of your personal information is sold to unscrupulous people online? If you knew, you'd be shocked. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you take back control of your data. Corporations called data brokers make big money compiling important information about you and then selling it to anyone and everyone. Scammers, potential stalkers, identity thieves, and worse, people who can ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers from selling the information which could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they found and removed. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to JoinDeleteMe.com/save and use promo code SAVE at checkout. Go to JoinDeleteMe.com/save and enter code SAVE at checkout. That's JoinDeleteMe.com/save, code SAVE.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Maybe you've heard us talking about it. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? It's the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll of the day. Simple yes or no. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? Let us know what you think. 1247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Are you a business owner? Do you want your voice and the voices of your clients represented? Let us do the talking. Join our community of free thinkers on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Learn more at 971talk.com/partner. This is the Annie Fry Show.
I love Hanson.
Yeah. I prefer Hanson now. I think that I've heard that they're pretty good.
I have a newfound appreciation for Hanson. I really did not like that song when it first came out.
Why? Just because you're
I was
culture.
Yeah, well, I think it had like the whole.
It's pretty much because everybody else liked it.
Yeah, not really. It was because the girls liked it, and I saw it as competition. I was like, I don't like those guys.
That's exactly what I just said. Everybody liked it.
Not everybody, because the guys that I hung around with didn't like it either.
They
was
didn't
kind
admit it.
No, it was just
they were
for the
like you. It
chicks.
just took them 30 years to figure it out.
Yeah, but it took them like their voices maturing, too.
They're still good.
They were good. You listened to it. That was they were on and they were good, but they were like 12.
Everybody is 12 once. It's
Yes.
not their fault.
Yeah, but they're not major music
But
stars.
now that they're men and their voices have changed to that, it's just a better sound to me.
I think maybe you're more secure.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
It's possibly
That's
that,
very
too.
true, because I remember at the time thinking, these guys think they're so great.
What
Who
do
you
they
think-
have that
who
I
do you
don't
think
have?
You
It's
are?
the same reason I don't like John Mayer. Stealing all the girls.
All of them. Anyway.
Whereas if you're Led Zeppelin and you get the girls, you're like, yeah, that's cool, man. I respect you. I don't know why.
I want to
what the
be Robert Plant.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is, but there is a difference. I've got some tech-related news for you here. Let's start with this one. How old do you text? That's the question I am posing, because I've got many different ways that you could be texting. And
I'm
I
sure
can tell you,
punctuation has a lot to do with it.
I can tell you how old you are based on the way that you text. because I have no idea how old you guys are, so this will be a lot of fun.
Younger than you.
So using swipe to text, where you don't really even pick your finger up, where you just move it around, is one way. Fast and accurately using one hand, but maybe not using swipe. Accurately using just both thumbs, thumb and index finger, so you're using both.
That.
Yeah. And then poking the buttons just with your pointer finger.
Beep, boop, bop.
So which one?
With your readers on the end of your nose.
We can say that if you want to, because that's where that goes.
I'm going to interrupt this conversation with breaking news that is, and I don't have more details than what I'm going to say right here, and we'll get back to our conversation in a second. But in Texas, Pelican Island Bridge in Galveston, Texas, has been struck by a barge, causing a portion of it to collapse. A large barge crashed into the Pelican Island Bridge in Texas on Wednesday, causing a section of the bridge, including railroad tracks, to smash down onto the barge. Pelican Island is located north of Galveston and is connected to the city by the bridge. Officials say the bridge has been shut down to traffic in both directions. So we will stay abreast of this situation and update it. That's a 13-minute-old story. So that just happened.
Great.
So I'm a swipe texter.
I use two thumbs.
Gosh, why?
Two thumbs and two hands?
Yes. I only have one thumb on each hand, so.
There's nowhere else to make that funnier. That's just pretty funny. What? This is toe thumb.
You're talking about both hands, right?
What are they? What?
Not your toe thumbs.
What
Okay.
what were in your mind? What are the other possibilities?
I think I was not thinking of thumbs. I was thinking of index finger and thumb, and thinking, oh, is that the same hand or not? Not two thumbs, two hands. You know what the other thing is? When you break in with news like that, I'm going, man, what the heck? Like, what is that? And then we're like, oh, yeah, back to texting. So okay. You swipe to text, which means that you are among the youngest text group.
Yeah.
So
Of course I am.
Is this something you've had to practice? Because I cannot do the swipe to text thing.
Practice?
Yeah. Because I've tried. I know that it exists.
Have you tried using both thumbs?
Some people, no. I didn't even know you could.
It's just a one thumb situation.
Some people just learn to do this immediately. I was always doing the two thumbs thing on both hands, by the way.
Ooh, was talk to text one of them?
No.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
I'm a talk to texter anytime I feel as though what I need to text is okay to be public information.
Me too. But apparently, my brother, who is 8 years younger than me, told me that is an old man characteristic.
I'm sure.
Talking to text.
It's what an 8 years younger brother would say to you.
That is not in this list, though. So you are among the millennial/Gen Z group.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one would be Gen Z is also fast and accurately using one hand. That would also be Gen Z. Accurately with both thumbs is more of a millennial and Gen X thing. And then thumb and index finger is elder Gen X/boomer. And then, of course, you guys picked it right. Poking the buttons with your pointer digit is the oldest way you could possibly do it, with your readers hanging off of your face. So you guys did pretty good there. I think I would not have guessed Annie's, but Brad and I, we fall right within the range of our age. Next one, is this the future? Wild new technology can read someone's mind with shocking accuracy.
Great.
Now, once I dug into this...
Man, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah. And he's like, y'all need to let me know if you get that.
I just want you all to know that I mean well. Not nearly... Well, I don't know. Maybe I just am that way. That's actually who I really am, so I guess I'm screwed.
Whenever you're around people who maybe you don't want them to know your thoughts, don't wear one of those electrode hats.
I don't want anyone to know. I don't want anyone to know my real thoughts.
Okay? Then don't wear an electrode hat.
I'll try to stop.
Because that's what, I mean, they're laying around. It's hard to avoid them. But this is, it is groundbreaking technology. And they always say there's always like a good reason for it. But then, of course, the reason that we're interested is like, where does this go from here? Is that people who have trouble with speech, but their brain's working fine, but they can't translate it to their mouth. They're looking at it because if you could create a device that could kind of read your thoughts, you could have somebody speaking for you. Of course, that's the way that they're getting it funding for it.
If there's a computer saying the things that are actually in my head, am I cleared from having to bear the responsibility of those thoughts, or?
Yeah,
I think there's
I'm
plausible
gonna be like,
deniability.
I'm gonna be like, the words were right, but the tone was completely off.
Right, yeah. It was very monotone.
I thought it very kindly in my head.
What about the opposite? If you're really mad, it's just like, get out of the room. See, context is everything. But all this is doing, and it's groundbreaking, but it's still very rudimentary when you really dig into it. They would make the people wearing the hats say in their head, spoon, python, or battlefield.
What?
One of those three words. They'd say, here,
Stop.
these three
Go
words.
back to before you said those three words.
Okay.
What?
Something in the
So
hat?
they make them wear these, like I said, the electrode hats.
Make
They're
who?
The
test subjects?
Yeah, the test subjects. And then they give them a choice of saying one of three words. And they say, don't say it, just think it.
Okay.
And the words were spoon, python,
It's very different words.
or battlefield.
Very different meanings.
And lengths.
And they can
get
it right.
And so, and they would 100% accuracy, they were able to test it. So it's neat technology, but is this the end of the world?
Yeah, that's neat.
Last
Can
one.
you read my mind right now?
Real quick, this startup says you'll never have to charge your phone again. And it's this long article from Forbes, like, oh, it's groundbreaking. When you dig into this one, you find out they just have you swap out your batteries. That's it.
This is something I have thought about before. Like, why can't we have multiple batteries for our phone? You have one that's
apparently
charged.
we're going there.
Okay. It's also, the battery is also what makes your phone so heavy.
But then you have to still charge the battery at some point.
Well, and carry one with you, which is,
Yeah.
I carry a portable battery charger with me everywhere I go anyway. Big hour next hour. Deroy Murdock and Will Scharf in studio. Don't go away.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It's time to replace those drafty windows in your house. And you know that it's past time, but you've been putting it off. It's going to be an expense. It's an investment, of course, but it's an important one to make. And Window World is here to ease the pressure and the financial pain to do that. No pun intended. When you go to Window World, they are now offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Window World, especially here in St. Louis, run by local residents. It's a very, decades-long, locally invested company here. I want you to understand how much they care about their good customer service, their reputation with the BBB, their other reporting agencies that really sing their praises because they care about doing business right. The windows that they offer are quality. They come with a double-strength glass, giving it strength not commonly used in replacement windows, and they back up your investment with a lifetime warranty that includes the coverage of labor, unlike a lot of other places, on top of parts and glass breakage. 36 months, same as cash, 314-993-1800.
Hello, it's Mike Carter here. I don't know if you've ever heard of McNair Grade School over in the Hazelwood School District, but Alexander McNair was Missouri's first governor, and he's said to have been the only state official wearing a fashionable cloth coat when Missouri secured its statehood. The year was 1821, and most legislators were dressed in homespun clothes, fringed hunting shirts, and buckskin. Carter law offices are just a few blocks from the first state capitol down on Main Street in St. Charles, and like our state, we've grown over the years. But one thing we've never forgotten is our connection to the people of St. Charles County and our great great state of Missouri. I'm Mike Carter, the founder of Carter Law Offices, and I also serve as general counsel to one of the largest employers in St. Charles County, and I'm a past director of the St. Louis Board of Realtors. I also serve as municipal judge for the fastest growing city in St. Charles County, and I have a news talk program on Fox and ABC called Justice and Journalism with me, Judge Mike Carter, where I interview today's state officials and newsmakers. Not many these days are dressed in buckskin, but they do answer to you the same way those elected officials did over 200 years ago. Check them out at MikeCarter.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
President Biden and former President Trump find common ground. Lisa Brady, Fox News. They have both agreed on 2 debates in June and September. Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says excluding him undermines democracy.
Kennedy says the campaigns are colluding to keep him off the debate stage because they're afraid he'd win. He's averaging about 10% in nationwide general election polls and has called for a 3-candidate debate, including him.
Fox's Chris Foster. Opening statements set to begin at the corruption trial of New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez, just a few hours after they finished seating a jury in New York City. The Democratic senator accused of accepting bribes to help foreign governments.
Menendez says he kept lots of cash at home. He harbored a fear of losing access to money. Prosecutors also must demonstrate an explicit connection between the senator receiving gold bars and official favors.
Fox's Chad Pergram at federal court in Lower Manhattan. Menendez has called the case a persecution, not a prosecution, after a separate corruption case ended with a hung jury in 2017. Some NYU graduates protesting outside their school's ceremony at Yankee Stadium.
Say the word Palestine! Say the word Palestine!
Still urging divestment from Israel after recent campus protests. Some NYU faculty members in online posts call today's commencement ceremony a distraction from what they say is complicity in genocide. The Texas A&M Galveston campus has a temporary transportation issue. Pelican Island, where the school is located, closed to all traffic for now after a barge hit a bridge, causing part of the bridge to fall, also spilling oil into the water. No word on injuries. A House hearing on what happened in March in Baltimore, where a cargo ship lost power and hit the Key Bridge.
This incident is a reminder of why safety always has to be the top priority in transportation.
Washington Democratic Congressman Rick Larson, as the U.S. Coast Guard announces a nationwide inquiry of other bridges potentially at risk as cargo ships have gotten bigger. America is listening to Fox News.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password.
For you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream. But it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Pretty nice Wednesday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. 75 should do it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. Evening temperatures take a slow drop out of the 70s into the upper 60s. Clouds moving in after midnight. It's dry tonight. 58 for the low. Thursday, mostly cloudy with increasing showers and thunder showers. 78. Periods of showers and thunder showers Thursday night and Friday, but nothing severe. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty. AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, double A, MCO.
I get asked a lot, what's the difference between the efficiency ratings and the numbers that customers hear while they're getting prices? Pretty much the difference is the numbers. As far as
As far as actual savings, there is a very easy common sense way to explain the differences in the energy ratings and the types of energy rating on the furnaces, what you can get and what you can't get, and what's best suited for you, what you actually do need or what you absolutely do not need. You'll be surprised and very happy that you called me. So call me, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. This is the only number that you need to call. 314-293-2600 or on the website Bart Inman. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Ruler Foods, rulerfoods.com. If you're shopping for groceries and you're sick and tired of overpaying for every grocery trip, give Ruler Foods a chance. I promise you that walking through Ruler Foods, once you get through those doors, you're going to go, wow, this is not what I expected. You're going to see the inside of the store and the way it's laid out, and you're going to understand why so many people in St. Louis have gone in to give Ruler Foods a try and then made it their weekly stop for groceries. They always have great low prices. They carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, but they have extra sales each week, and I'm always excited to tell you about some of the best ones. 2 pounds of strawberries or 18 ounces of blueberries, $2.77 each. You can get the 12-ounce Bar S Franks, love those, 24-ounce Kroger ketchup or 20-ounce Kroger mustard, 10 for $10. Stock up on those. Get the freezer loaded with those hot dogs. Plus, they have Pepsi, Mountain Dew, A&W, and Sunkist 12-packs, 4 for $16 when you buy 4. Save on your grocery bill at Ruler Foods. Find your Ruler Foods at rulerfoods.com.
It's what's happening.
And there's still no evidence whatsoever connecting Trump with any criminal wrongdoing.
Right now.
U.S. weapons aid will not go to Israel.
Keeping you informed.
We have no leadership from Joe Biden.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BEDSORE.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is just an administrative bookkeeping issue, but Alvin Bragg actually believes that this is going to be, his political nirvana. And I think in the end, from what I could get, just if I could look at the body language here, I don't know if he's going to get a unanimous verdict for this very novel application of the law with no intent that I could see, other than Michael Cohen's own words that this is what the president intended and it wanted to happen.
So Laura Ingraham had the opportunity to go and witness the inside of the courtroom yesterday and had a lot to say about that, of course, on Fox News, including her show. But she's saying that she doesn't, basically looking at the jury, she's an attorney, so she understands these things much better than I do, of course, that she doesn't think that Alvin Bragg is necessarily going to be able to get the conviction. Now, Deroy Murdock, one of our dear friends who's with us each week here, suggests that in his experience as being a New York City juror, that it's possible the unthinkable could happen. I wonder what that might be. Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor Deroy Murdock with us now. Deroy, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you.
Hey, it's great to talk to you again.
You talk about the unthinkable happening. Donald Trump being charged with a contortion of some sort of crime that most people can't explain in Manhattan still doesn't look great for Donald Trump, but you have experience of being on a New York City jury. What do you think happens next?
Yeah, I do, and I have a piece that FoxNews.com published today. It's also at Daily Signal, Washington Times, and other outlets. And the unthinkable, as you describe it, is basically that I think wouldn't surprise me if he got acquitted on all 34 counts if it in fact goes to the jury and we don't get a directed verdict from Judge Marchand himself. I have been on 3 different juries in Manhattan. 2 were civil, 1 was criminal. The final criminal trial, the first person on the roster is automatically the foreman. I happen to be listed first, so I was the foreman and was able to have my Perry Mason moment and announce the verdict in court, which is kind of cool. And I've been, in my experiences with Manhattan juries, very impressed, moved, and almost touched and almost moved to tears by how solemn and serious and professional the jurors, my fellow jurors, took our duties. The sense was that this is a very serious situation. There are people here who could gain or lose fortunes in civil cases or possibly go to jail or be free. And those decisions were in our hands. We had to take that very seriously. And there was also the sense that we need to respect the justice system because someday we may need the justice system to respect us. And so let's not be frivolous. Let's not be silly. Let's be very, very mature adult citizens about this. And so I think that given that so far this case has been flimsy from the beginning, based on supposedly misdemeanors being turned into felonies, the felonies require a second crime to be committed. Nobody really knows what that second crime is. It might be a federal election campaign violation, but a local DA has no authority to enforce federal campaign finance law. That's to be done criminally by the Department of Justice or civilly by the Federal Election Commission. And there's been no evidence of any illegality I've seen. We've seen the Stormy Daniels affair, which both Donald J. Trump and in some cases Stormy Daniels deny ever happened. The so-called catch and kill scheme where the National Enquirer bought rights to stories and then didn't publish them. This whole business of writing down in the ledger legal expenses and describing them in the ledger as legal expenses. This is all legal. There's nothing illegal about any of that. Oh my God, she signed a non-disclosure agreement. Horrors. Guess what? That's A, legal, B, widespread. I've signed multiple non-disclosure agreements myself. My contract with Fox News has certain things that says, don't talk about so-and-so. In exchange, I get paid. That's kind of the same situation. You have out-of-court settlements where people say, all right, settle this out of court. We'll give you some money. Don't talk about it. Don't disparage the other parties. Don't tell anybody how much money you got. Nick Sandmann's cases with CNN and the Washington Post kind of come to mind as in the Kentucky Covington Kentucky case with the kids who were allegedly attacked the Indian outside the Lincoln Memorial, but in fact he was banging a drum in front of Nick Sandmann's face. He had an out-of-court settlement with I think it was CNN and maybe the Washington Post. They gave him some money. He never said how much it was, and part of that is we'll give you the money, but don't tell anybody how much we gave you. And he signed that, and that's the same idea here. Well, here's some money. Don't talk to anybody about whatever it is we want to keep quiet. That's not against the law. That's perfectly legal. That happens all the time. So Alvin Bragg and his fellow prosecutors have been presenting a lot of interesting, fascinating, colorful stuff. But guess what? None of it's against the law. He's not been able to prove anybody broke any law anywhere. So I think even people in a Manhattan jury who didn't vote for Donald J. Trump, maybe don't like Donald J. Trump, won't vote for him in November under any circumstances, are not going to sit there and say, all right, well, this is a rotten case. We don't know what he did wrong, but let's throw the guy in jail anyway. My experience with Manhattan jurors is that they'll take their duties seriously. As much as they may dislike Trump, I'd be shocked if they said, let's put aside the fact that the prosecution did a rotten job here, didn't prove their case, but let's just lock him up anyway.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear that because we are led to believe, and probably by virtue of the content you and I and people like what have to do what we do for a living, we surround ourselves by politics all the time. And sometimes it's important for me to remind myself that a lot of America is not saturated in the minute-to-minute news cycle like we are. But there is a lot to be said about how Donald Trump permeates most things, and that the idea that you would have an opinion on Donald Trump, it's hard to find people who would have no opinion on Donald Trump. And then you have to ask yourself the question of how much is that opinion of a singular man? How much does that drive people to do things that might compromise other principles that they have? Is the utmost principle your position for or against Donald Trump? And I think a lot of sensational media out there might lead us to believe that he is the be-all and end-all of principles. And it's refreshing to hear you say that that's not necessarily the case in this instance.
Yeah, I would say, look, if this were a close case and the prosecution actually presented evidence of wrongdoing, and rather than talking about, what kind of pajamas did Trump have on, and silk pajamas or sitting on a hotel bed in his underwear, I mean, that's not against the law. If they actually said this is illegal and this was wrong, this violated this law, here's the second law that it makes these misdemeanors and these Class E felonies whose statutes of limitations have expired. Here's why this other second crime suddenly brings them back to life, and here's the evidence of this. And people come in and say, yes, he said we must break this law, and I intend to do it. And here's the audio tape in which he said, I don't care. Let's cover this up. I don't care what law we break. Okay, great. If they have that evidence. People might say, look, I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. There is enough evidence. Let's convict the guy. But I can see these 12 people sitting in the jury room asking themselves, what was the crime here? What exactly was illegal? And I'm not clear, and nobody's clear as to what's been presented here that's against the law. So I think given the prosecution has given these people nothing to work with, they would have to, if even they said, okay, we got to convict him, we'll lock this guy up, throw him behind bars. The question is, for what? I mean, what is the law on the basis? What is the law they're going to use to say, this guy deserves to be convicted of X? They've not really stated what the illegal second crime is, which is astonishing. So, given all of that, I think that these people really would have to jump through hoops that Alvin Bragg has not provided them, to create the hoops and jump through them, self-hoop jumping in order to convict Trump. So. Again, if it happens that this goes to jury and Donald J. Trump is acquitted on 34 charges, don't be surprised. Certainly don't be shocked. And by the way, if that happens, if he is acquitted by a Manhattan jury on all 34 charges, he will have a big fat halo over his head. He's going to go up 10 points in the polls. All these other cases against him, I think a lot of these other prosecutors will just put their tails between their legs and go away.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to look stupid and ridiculous. And the never Trump and Trump haters should not have made this their first case, because if this thing turns out to go as poorly for them as I think it will, all the other things that follow will just look like, just trying to throw more rocks at this guy.
Yeah.
They should have picked the best, most solid case, put that up first, and run first with that. And they've not done that, and it shows.
Deroy Murdock speaking with us right now, Fox News contributor and nationally syndicated columnist. You can read his latest piece on his experience of being an NYC juror and what he thinks that is possibly going to mean for Donald Trump's verdict here in this Manhattan trial. Before we let you go, Deroy, I really am curious about your thoughts on the political ramifications and consequences of this specific trial, the gag order, the repetition we hear from Donald Trump when he gets in front of the microphones about election interference and a corrupt judge. I'd almost advocate that the gag order has benefited Donald Trump from getting in the way of the idea that the lawfare exists and Joe Biden's presidency being the disaster that it is.
I think that this case and all the others only have helped Donald J. Trump. His enemies have thought, hey, let's throw him in jail. This will be great. This will be terrific. And from when the Alvin Bragg charges were filed April of 2023 up until now, you've just seen his numbers go up. You had the Mar-a-Lago raid, the Alvin Bragg indictment, and then all the situation in Atlanta with Fani Willis and all this. And his numbers have just gone up, 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 up. And I think even people who are not necessarily big fans of Trump think this isn't fair. If his name were Donald J. Smith or Donald J. Jackson, none of this would be happening to him. But because he's Trump and the Democrats hate his guts, rather than run against him and say, look, let's promise the American people, here are the 10 things we're going to do, and here's why our agenda beats his agenda, they're not doing that. They're just saying, okay, let's throw the guy in jail, lock him up, and waltz back in the White House. And I think a lot of people look at this and think, this isn't Swaziland. This is Paraguay. This isn't some kind of a backwater in some poor country. This is the United States of America. We don't treat people like this. We don't do this. And so this totally is blown up in his face. And if he is acquitted on these charges, I think they're going to look even more desperate and stupid and bizarre. And these are the same people who pat themselves on the back and say, oh, we believe in democracy. We love democracy. We're the bulwarks of democracy. The same people who try to keep him off the ballot in Colorado and Maine and other states. The same people who are playing games with mass mail-in ballots and then ballots drifting into counting centers as late as Thanksgiving. These are the people who are the paragons of democracy, while Trump is Adolf Hitler Jr. It's absurd, twisted, backward, and that's completely upside down.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see when this verdict is finally reached, if the unthinkable does happen. And your testament there from having served in this position is a bright spot. I'm glad that you were able to share it with us. And of course, people can read the article that you wrote on foxnews.com. Deroy, thank you for being with us. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
All right, Annie, great to talk to you. Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye. Deroy Murdock, nationally syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor, and our guest on Wednesdays. He's free on Wednesdays. We're happy to have him here. Let's take a quick break. Will Scharf going to join us in studio in the 1 o'clock hour to answer some of our questions, maybe some of yours, if you've got some for him. Leave them on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat. You can go vote in the live chat poll as well. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? Yes or no? Let us know what you think. We'll be back in just a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
I want to talk to you about STS Armory. They're online at sts-armory.com, and they're located in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. I love visiting the store at STS Armory. My family members love visiting STS Armory to shop and see what they have next, to see what the next thing we might want to add to our personal possessions might be. And they're great at guiding us, because usually there's like a need or a certain type of quality that you want. And when you go talk to Katie and Jesse, the owners, the staff that is there, so well experienced, great knowledge when it comes to firearms, owning and operating them, that you can tell them what you're looking for and they can help guide you. If you know exactly what you're looking for, STS Armory can help connect you with it. They know the ins and outs, the ups and the downs of owning guns in the state of Illinois. They can help you with FOID card issues. There's conceal and carry licensure if you need to take a class and qualify or get renewed, which I just got my renewal notice here recently. Go to the experts at STS Armory and get it taken care of. Katie and Jesse are waiting for you to stop by. Tell them the Annie Fry Show said hi. 618-931-GUNS. That's 618-931-GUNS. You can find them in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive, and online at sts-armory.com.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Hello, Mike Carter here. I wonder if you knew that after the purchase of the Louisiana Territory in 1804, a formal three-flag ceremony was held in St. Louis to mark the transfer. The Spanish flag lowered and the French tricolor raised. That in turn was lowered the next day and the flag of the young Republic of the United States stood tall. I'm Mike Carter of Carter Law Offices here, and at that moment the people living here went from being subjects to being citizens of a great free nation. Jump ahead 220 years to what we have become, and over 6 million men, women, and children now call Missouri home. Our largest cities are an economic powerhouse, and our small towns and family farms remain the heart of the nation. A friend wrote me one time at Carter Law Offices, "Hey, Mike Carter, why don't Missouri residents show their pride by flying our state flag more often like the folks in Texas?" I was like, that's a really great idea. And I was thinking, maybe anybody who's listening to this, if you want to send me an email at mike@carterlegal.com with your name and address if you're okay doing so, and I'll send you a free state flag, and you can hang it out on your front porch and show everybody you're as proud of Missouri as I am.
Well, there's a lot to celebrate this month. Graduations, the end of the school year approaching, barbecues, warm weather months ahead. Celebrate, though, in a clean home by calling my cleaning heroes and pros at Zero Res. They've been in my house I don't know how many times over the last decade. They always knock it out of the park, and that goes for the carpets and the ductwork. You know them maybe as the zero residue carpet cleaners that don't leave behind any of the dirt-attracting soaps and chemicals. Don't risk what the other guys do or don't do it yourself. Don't DIY, because it's going to end up soaked for days and actually do more damage than good. So do it the right way with Zero Res, and right now get 3 rooms of carpet, Zero Resified, starting at just $129. Take $50 off your air duct cleaning package. Now, you have to mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk. You can book very easily if you call 314-474-2020 or online, ZeroResSTL.com. But make sure you mention my name or the station. Zero Res. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Don't miss out on the May special with Zero Res.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now, 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. ramp.com/free.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this, durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for a free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Wednesday afternoon, they called it gender-affirming care, but Jamie Reed exposed something very different at Washington University and Children's Hospital. She joins me at 5:07.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
He's free on Wednesdays. And I tweeted this out earlier, and I really want it to happen. They put out a blue T-shirt. The Joe Biden. I just went to Washington, D.C. Nobody is wearing Joe Biden merchandise. I didn't even know it existed, and I looked the whole time because I was going to buy some if I found it. There's just a business card magnet with his portrait on it. Blue Navy shirt. It says free on Wednesdays, and I said Donald Trump needs to release a red shirt exactly like that. Biden's charging $35. Trump should up it to $47. Blame it on Joe Biden's inflation. $47 in honor of the 47th presidency. I'll buy the first one. Will Scharf is in the studio. Hi.
How are we doing, guys? Great to be with you.
Good. There's going to be a debate happening, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you have to watch the video that Biden released. And if you watch it closely, they cut about 7 different times.
Why is that?
So Joe Biden could not read through 2 sentences on a teleprompter without messing up. And that's why they must have had to cut it so many times and why the shot jumps around the way that it did. I mean, they are rigging this debate in every way, hosted by CNN, strict rules that, clearly are intended to favor Joe Biden. And even so, I think President Trump is absolutely going to wipe the floor with this guy. I think it's going to be terrible. I think it could be the end of the Biden campaign.
Is that what they want? Listen, first of all, to the point of that being edited however many times, that it was a 13-second video.
It cuts and cuts
It's
and cuts and cuts
13
and
seconds.
cuts. I'm telling you, this guy can't read 2 sentences without fumbling, mumbling, or blowing a line.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
I see Joe Biden being put out there to do things, this type of stuff, and I feel like they're setting him up to fail because I think they want to replace him.
That's sort of the conspiracy theory, and I think it's possible. The question is, who do you replace him with? So if he resigns, if he steps back from the campaign before the convention, then every delegate at the DNC becomes unpledged, and they could vote for literally anybody. They could vote for Liz Warren. They could vote for Bernie Sanders. It's a bunch of crazy libs from all over the country. Who knows? I can't imagine they'll allow that to happen. The other alternative is for Joe Biden to become the nominee and then step down. And at that point, DNC committeemen from around the country would get to vote on the replacement. So that's a more controlled process. But at that point, you're deep into August, maybe even September. Standing up a new candidate and a new campaign at that point, I just don't think that's viable, even with all the money that the left has and even with all the advantages that they have in the political finance space. So I think they're stuck with Biden. This is a guy who can't walk to the helicopter in view of the press without stumbling or making an embarrassment of himself.
They're surrounding him when he walks out so that it's not so obvious.
I mean, they are going to pump him full of B vitamins and amphetamines and hope for the best at this CNN debate, and I think it's going to be absolutely brutal. President Trump is sharp. He's on point. Every public appearance, he is absolutely crushing it. They can rig the rules however they want. I think it's going to be a great day for the Republican Party. I'm excited.
I'm very excited. It's a good day for us here to be able to consume a debate in June, to have a date on the calendar that we can view this, and we'll likely be doing that with you, the listener, so stay tuned for more information there. We're speaking with Will Scharf. He is one of Donald Trump's attorneys, a former federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of Missouri. He's also a candidate for Missouri Attorney General. And we like talking to you about the legal things that Donald Trump is facing, because you have very keen, unique knowledge on all of this. But the political ramifications can't be dismissed for what it looks as though the Biden administration has levied against Donald Trump. It just makes him stronger.
I think that's absolutely right. And the fact that Biden is mocking him about being in trial, that's the "I hear you're free on Wednesdays" line. I mean, it just goes to show that Joe Biden views this campaign of political prosecution, of persecution against President Trump as a crucial part of his campaign. What the left denies every single day, which is that these prosecutions are political. We all know they're political. The left denies it every single day. And here's Biden basically admitting that the campaign of lawfare is interfering with President Trump's ability to campaign. I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud. That was another thing that was just shocking to me about that stupid video they released today.
Yeah, it's like they don't get it. And I think, I know that you know President Trump personally and you work with him, so you have an understanding of how he operates, who he is as an individual. But the things that sometimes, in my view, from where I sit as an observer, that sometimes trip him up or inflame the anti-Trump, the never-Trump base. Joe Biden and his Department of Justice have very much so limited Donald Trump's ability to go out there and do the things that maybe fire up the Trump base, but also get the anti-Trump base going and become part of the story. They've tried to quiet him down, take him off the field as much as possible. And in doing so, I think people are looking at this presidential race more as a referendum on Joe Biden than they would have had they not put Donald Trump on the sidelines.
I mean, I'll say this. They've put President Trump on trial in New York. They've incapacitated him for 4 days a week, every week for basically the last month. And even so, Trump had more people at that New Jersey rally over the weekend than Biden has had this entire election cycle combined. I mean, this is a guy, President Trump, who is the best natural campaigner, the best natural political talent in American history, who has fired up and motivated the American people like no political candidate in our lifetimes. And I think that as soon as this trial gets done and when he gets back out on the campaign trail, he's just absolutely going to crush it. And it's going to be a very, very sad November for everybody wearing one of these stupid blue shirts.
All 6 of them.
Yeah,
Get the red shirts out there. I want one. I'll buy 2.
The Trump campaign's biggest problem is people like selling unauthorized MAGA hats because there is so much demand for Trump apparel. The Biden campaign's problem is that, as you said, even their supporters want nothing to do with the guy and aren't wearing his stuff, just don't care.
Let's talk about the unauthorized MAGA stuff, because I just was in Washington, D.C., and I ended up buying one. The first person that I asked, I assume it was unauthorized. It didn't look authorized. The first person I asked had a kiosk of merchandise. No Joe Biden merchandise. A lot of Washington, D.C., a lot of America, a lot of Trump. Clearly, there is demand, because they would have Biden stuff there if people would buy it. They don't. I asked the guy, are these made in America? And it was the stupidest question this man has heard in his life. He's like, no, they're not made in America. If they were made in America, I wouldn't be able to afford to sell them. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I'm not going to buy it then. And then I caved later because my son wanted to buy one.
It sounds like you had a great trip to D.C.
It was great.
I hope the Gettysburg trip was less fraught than your interaction with this street merchandise salesman. So.
Everything that we were able to take in, I just it was shut up and listen for me, shut up and watch and just take it in. And I want to go back and do deeper dives when I'm not, connected to 14-year-old kids.
Did the kids enjoy it, though? Do you think that the 8th graders had a good time?
Three days, top to bottom, packed full of stuff. And by the end, I mean, we walked like 23,000 steps a day, and it was a lot. But they were all engaged, and they were into it, and they were asking questions. And, sometimes they get a little squirrely, but it's usually when they're hungry. But I do want to ask about the Trump merchandise that is out there in Washington, D.C., because I'm sure you spend more time in D.C. than I do. But your experience of traveling the country and the interest level that exists with Donald Trump, because for whatever reason, Donald Trump was cool with the kids. And once my son he asked for it, and I told him no a bunch of times before I finally said, fine, you can have it. Because I wanted him to know what it meant to wear that hat and what people were going to do and say to him if he had it on.
Mm-hmm.
And it really kind of struck me, because here I am, somebody who does support Donald Trump, will be voting for Donald Trump. I wanted to shield my son from having to bear the burden of wearing that hat. And now I imagine, what's it like to be actually Donald Trump and the full force of that going against that one singular man. But it does seem to me, as we were walking around Washington, D.C., I mean, kids were calling each other out, like, I love your hat, man, MAGA. I mean, I'm like, these are children. But there's something about it that they understand that I assume is coming from within their homes, possibly. They're kids. They're not from Washington, D.C. They're from all over the country. What is it?
I think teenagers, naturally rebel against authority. And the left has become so authoritarian and so totalitarian and is attempting to control so many aspects of society that the Gen Zers are rebelling against that. And they see in President Trump an avatar, a guy who's not afraid to call out diversity culture and the craziness that they're seeing every day in their schools. A guy who's willing to be unabashedly pro-American and pro our principles, pro our Constitution. I think it's kind of crazy, but what we're seeing happen right now is a generation of young people who have been oppressed by the radical left and who are naturally rebelling against that, the same way that back in the 60s, you had hippies and stoners and whatever rebelling against the mainstream authorities back then. I think it's great. We've got college kids involved in our campaign. They're so much more fired up than I was at their age.
Yeah.
And they're so much more just knowledgeable and in tune, whether it's on policy issues, whether it's on these big cultural fights. I mean, I have great faith in the future of America because of the kids that are coming through. I mean, these scenes out of these southern schools where you have these radical pro-Hamas tent camps or whatever,
yes,
and you've got the frat guys shouting them down and defending the American flag. I mean, they got to make a movie about this. It's absolutely incredible and really gives me hope for the future.
I agree completely. And these are COVID kids.
Yeah.
These kids are going to be old enough to understand, some of them. My son was fourth grade, the second semester of fourth grade is when they went home. And then because we send our kids to a Lutheran school, they went back into school that fall, even in Illinois, unlike a lot of other kids who did not. So they had that benefit, but they were still masked. They were still social distance. These were all Illinois regulations at the time. They know what that was like. They will never forget that. And that is ingrained in their memory of growing up. So I think that is an important thing that is going to stick with these kids. the college graduates who are not getting a college graduation because the protesters have taken it away from them, and they are the same ones that lost their high school graduation due to COVID. If you look at the political parties now that have had the opportunity to have the responsibility of the offices of the president or of Congress or whatever, if you look at the left versus the right now, the left wants to control every facet of your life, and they will tell you and cancel you if you do it wrong. And for whatever reason, the right is like the classic liberal of what I remember growing up with. The liberals were the cool people that they wanted you to just like stay out of my house, stay out of my bedroom, let me live my life. I don't want the government interfering. It's completely flipped.
Yeah. Well, you watch every 80s movie, and the bad guy, every 80s like college movie, think Animal House, and the bad guy is an authoritarian right-wing college administrator. Today, the authoritarians that these kids are living through in college are these left-wing, diversity-addled nut jobs who believe in the DEI cult, who did all the crazy stuff during COVID. I mean, it's a total role reversal, and I think it's understandable that young people across America are reacting exactly as they're reacting. I think Trump is going to do better with let's say the under 25 vote than any Republican president in living memory. I think this is the same reason why you see African Americans and Hispanic Americans turning out. They're going to be turning out in numbers that we've never seen before for the Republican Party, certainly in modern history. It's a fundamental overturning of the conventional established political order in this country. And I'm excited. I'm bringing popcorn.
Yeah. What does Joe Biden have to offer those young people? He's so unrelatable.
I mean, I don't think Joe Biden has anything to offer to anybody. I don't think he's running the country, and that's maybe the scariest thing about this White House. I mean, he's incapable of making it through a press conference. He's incapable of making it through even the most staged events. I mean, the guy you look at him and you do not see American strength. You don't see the American presidency. It transcends politics. This guy shouldn't be in the White House, and I think the American people understand that.
Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes. All right, Will Scharf in studio with us right now. We're going to stick around with him for the rest of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Trump trials, how they are lining up, how they are falling apart, if they are staying the course. So stick around for that. Trump attorney Will Scharf in studio here with us on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Retirement Advisory Group, you're going to be able to come hang out with me for a few minutes before the event starts. I'll be there at 6 o'clock tomorrow, Thursday, May 16th, at the Frontenac Hilton. The event starts at 6:30, but you got to reserve your spot for the Protecting Your Retirement educational event. Shifting away from your working years into your retirement years, there's a few smart moves that you need to make, and this is a free event for you to be able to attend and listen to what Thomas Helbig and the Kershaws have to say about those smart moves that you need to make. Sit down, have a snack with them, sit down and talk with us. Mark Cox will be there. Mark Reardon will be there. I'll be there from 6 to 6:30. And then we turn it over to Thomas Helbig and the folks at the Retirement Advisory Group to help guide you through those tips that you need to know to engage in that worry-free retirement and make that transition comfortably and confidently. Reserve your spot by calling 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Let them know the Annie Fry Show sent you. And I will see you tomorrow night at the Frontenac Hilton, starting at 6 o'clock when I get there. The event begins at 6:30. All the details online at retirementkey.com.
You know, there's a sign I keep in my office that reads, "Remember where you came from." Well, Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. We all remember where we grew up, the schools we attended, and the streets we played on, and the friends we made. The Carter family has deep roots in Missouri. There was a Civil War captain from St. Charles County who became sheriff of Lincoln County. My own grandparents had a farm down in Carter County where I spent a couple boyhood summers riding a pig, to and fro. For myself, Mike Carter, I was raised in North County, and before you ask, I went to Hazelwood West High School. Growing up, my parents taught me that if I studied and worked hard, good things were sure to follow. And like many of you, I went to Mizzou, working my way through college, bussing tables, driving for UPS. Then I graduated law school, founded Carter Law Offices, and serve now as a municipal judge and general counsel of the largest employer in St. Charles County. But I never forget North County, where I came from, and the people and places that we all remember that make us who we are. Go to MikeCarter.com and check out some interviews from some other people across the great state of Missouri.
If you're looking for a senior living community, check out Hampton Manor of Wentzville. Mark Cox here. It is resort-style living without the resort-style price. Take Highway 70 to the Lake St. Louis exit. Schedule your appointment today at wentzvilleassistedliving.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? If you haven't heard yet, Donald Trump and Joe Biden have agreed to 2 debates, and Joe Biden gets to set the terms. So we want to know if you think Trump can win under Joe's terms. Join our Annie Fry YouTube page. Vote in the poll there. Tell us why you think he can or cannot. We want to hear from you. The time is 1:44. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is Ryan Wiggins from Wiggins America and the Annie Fry Show, and I was born with CF. May is Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, so I'm glad to assist in helping find a cure for this terrible disease. Register to walk in the Gateway Chapter Great Strides on May 18th at 971talk.com/care.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We've got Will Scharf in studio here, and the conversation off the air is as good as the conversation on the air, so we thought we better get back on the air. Will Scharf is an attorney for Donald Trump. He is a candidate for Attorney General here in the state of Missouri, and he's also a former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Missouri. I don't know what you're bound by, what you can say and what you can't say about the Manhattan trial, so I'm going to ask a very open-ended question. But what is your assessment of the trial up to this point? I understand that Cohen is the last witness that the prosecution is going to be calling, so they would have made their case by the time they're done with Cohen. I still don't think that if you asked 100 Americans about the trial, that half of them would know anything about what's going on, and the other half of them wouldn't be able to articulate what Donald Trump is being charged with.
Yeah, the prosecution in court said that they're resting once Michael Cohen's off the stand. I think when you look at the trial, and I've read the transcripts every day, I know what happened there, they haven't come close to meeting any sort of evidentiary standard for conviction here. I mean, they have not proven beyond a reasonable doubt anything, much less the crimes alleged in the indictment here. A lot of legal scholars have said that based on this trial record, Judge Merchan should issue a directed verdict. Should just say that there's
What does that mean?
A directed verdict is where a judge at the close of evidence basically says that as a matter of law, there has not been enough valid evidence introduced for any fair jury to convict, and therefore he just enters a verdict of innocence, essentially.
Can he do that in the converse?
No.
He can
no.
only say, this isn't even worth the jury's time.
That's exactly right. It's the equivalent of a judge dismissing a civil case in the criminal context. So a lot of people are saying it should be a directed verdict. I won't hold my breath for that. But when you look at the evidence introduced, and I'm sure that the jury has been carefully watching everything that's happened in this trial. When you look at the evidence introduced, it doesn't come anywhere close to proving that President Trump committed business records fraud, which is at the heart of this case. There's been a ton of tabloid gossip. There's been a ton of extraneous smoke and mirrors type evidence. But on the core of the allegations here, they just haven't proved their case. It's astounding to a lot of the people watching this from afar. It's less astounding to those of us who were sort of deep in this and familiar with the underlying facts. But I think that President Trump should be acquitted. I think the cross-examination of each of these witnesses, including the start of cross-examination against Cohen on Tuesday, have been damning. I think President Trump's trial team has done an outstanding job just showing how baseless this case is. I think we're going to see that continue to play out in court, towards the end of this week. We're back in trial tomorrow. But overall, I mean, this case should have never been brought, and it certainly they're just nowhere close to proving that any crime was committed here.
Take us as much behind the scenes as you can to prepare the defense of Donald Trump, especially in a case like this where information was withheld, your ability to fight back in the court of public opinion when other people are not gagged at all. Like, what does it look like to make sure that you provide the best defense possible in a case like this where it just seems like everything is tilted to begin with?
Yeah, so the three key lawyers on the trial team, there's some sort of supporting actors as well, but it's Todd Blanche, Emile Beauvais, and then Susan Necklace. Todd Blanche is an outstanding lawyer. I've worked with him closely on the D.C. case, the Florida case as well. Todd is a former federal prosecutor from New York. He led the Gang and Violent Crime Unit in the Southern District of New York, which is one of the largest, most prestigious U.S. attorney's offices in the country for many years. He's also been an eminent practitioner in private practice. I'd consider him one of the best criminal defense attorneys at this point in the country. Emile Beauvais, who works closely with Todd, another just brilliant legal mind. Susan is a highly accomplished New York litigator. This is a killer team of lawyers around President Trump there. In addition to them, they're sort of supporting actors. The team that I work with here in Missouri, we've worked closely with them on certain briefing issues, including this gag order that we're taking up to the New York Court of Appeals imminently to try to get that overturned before the end of trial. But it's been a great and interesting process for me just getting to work with so many great attorneys. You alluded to some of the evidentiary issues here. I mean, it's core to a defendant's constitutional rights that they have access to the evidence, discovery, call it whatever you will, the evidence that's going to be presented against them in court. We had over 100,000 pages of documents essentially withheld from us until less than a month before trial. Which in a trial of this importance, of this magnitude, in any trial, I mean, that's just unheard of. Every step of the way, the deck has been stacked against our team by the New York court system and by the prosecution. And yet I still think they're doing an outstanding job. And I think we're seeing that play out in court every single day.
We're speaking with Will Scharf here in studio. I want to ask about your observations of Donald Trump, as he is supposed to be campaigning. Of course, he's not. The fodder that comes out of this is that he's sleepy in there, and he's, I don't know if he's inattentive, is what they're trying to suggest that he is, that he says it's very cold in there. Is his job to just sit there and be quiet and be still for 7-8 hours a day? Is that?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Like, you just got it. I mean, that's like a prison.
And I've been in court with him when something kind of grabs his attention. He'll write a note to you, or he'll sort of whisper something in your ear. And there have been press reports that, he's doing that. He's not sleeping through trial, I promise you. First of all, as you noted, it's way too cold to sleep in that courtroom. Sometimes President Trump, when he's listening intently to something, he'll kind of close his eyes and lean back a little bit. A lot of people do that. The press is just seizing on anything they can find right now to point to weakness in President Trump. Because there really isn't any evidence of that. I would encourage all your listeners, pull the video of that New Jersey rally and just watch it. I mean, this is a guy, he has more energy now than he did even in 2016 when he took the political scene by absolute storm. This is a guy who is going to romp back into the White House in November. And I don't think any of this lawfare, I don't think any of these extra legal efforts to drag him into court and to hold up his campaign, it's despicable, it's disgraceful, but fortunately, I don't think it's, at the end of the day, going to have any meaningful impact on his ability to campaign.
Why is it so cold?
It's an old building. I don't have a good answer for that.
Is there a strategy here? I don't understand it.
I'll say, as a lawyer, I'd much rather be in a cold courtroom than in a warm courtroom.
Yeah.
Warm courtroom, the day drags, you start to get a little drowsy, you start missing some things. Cold courtroom, at least you stay alert. But yeah, I mean, this courthouse is just a dump. I've been inside there before. It's not a pleasant place. And I'll make a broader point there. You think about America, you think about the history of this country. We used to build big, beautiful things. I mean, you look at sort of neoclassical architecture, even here in downtown St. Louis. We used to be really good at creating beautiful public spaces and beautiful public buildings.
That was one of the biggest things that I took in being in DC. Look at what we did with so much less.
It's awe-inspiring. I mean, you walk even through the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just beautiful, beautiful buildings. We were at the Supreme Court a couple weeks ago. It's a beautiful building. Nowadays, we just build garbage. You look at these sort of new modernist buildings. You look at the statues that we put up in our parks. It looks disgusting, and I think it speaks a lot to the degradation of culture over the last century. That's a much broader point. But yeah, this courthouse is terrible. Everybody who's there.
So he's not lying that it's cold.
No, the press, our team, like literally everybody who's there is like, this is an uncomfortable, decrepit old courthouse that is in desperate need of a refresh.
So your thoughts. So when is Trump not going to have to sit in this courtroom any longer?
Well, look, if the prosecution rests at the end of this week, I guess it depends how long cross-examination of Michael Cohen goes on for. Our team then has the opportunity to put on witnesses of our own, and that's going to be a decision that the trial team will have to make after they've finished up with cross-examination here, whether they want to put on any witnesses at all, whether President Trump may testify. That's something that President Trump has talked about publicly. We may not. We'll see. Once the defense rests, which would presumably be within the next week at the outside, then the jury gets charged. The judge and the two teams will hash out jury instructions. The jury gets charged, and then the jury goes into a black box, and they'll deliberate. They'll consider all the evidence, and their charge is deciding whether the evidence proves beyond a reasonable doubt that the crimes that have been alleged actually occurred. I think this could be a very, very quick jury deliberation. I don't think there's any evidence that President Trump could. Sometimes quick means they just return a quick guilty verdict. Sometimes it's the opposite. I remember I had a jury here in federal court in St. Louis go out one time, and I was a little bit nervous about some aspects of the case. They came back in an hour and a half, and they ordered lunch in the middle, which means they deliberated for about 10 minutes. And I was
What'd
pretty.
They order? I need to know.
I think sandwiches, but I was pretty confident at that point that I was getting a guilty verdict. But juries can be unpredictable.
Yeah.
Juries. I think you had Deroy Murdock on before, and he was talking a little bit about his experiences in jury trials. Juries can be unpredictable, but Frederick Douglass said that a man's rights rest in three boxes. The ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box. I think alongside the Second Amendment in our system of elections, the jury system is a linchpin of the American system, the American constitutional order. And I have great faith that the jury is going to see through all the smoke and mirrors and do the right thing here.
We don't have much time left, but do you think we'll have a verdict by the end of May, June 24?
I think by the end of May would be a reasonable guess.
Reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
And what picks up next?
Well, the other cases are really stalled out. Georgia is going nowhere. We're dealing with this qualification issue of Fani Willis that's up before the Georgia appellate courts now. Florida, I mean, that case is just collapsing. Judge Eileen Cannon stayed the trial date there and said that there are so many issues that need to be resolved. She wasn't even willing to set a tentative future trial date. D.C., which is the case that most legal commentators thought was going to go to trial first, we're waiting on a Supreme Court opinion. Depending on how the Supreme Court rule, if they rule in our favor, we could have years of litigation over the scope of immunity that they recognize.
And that ruling by the end of June or July?
We expect that by the end of June.
June, okay.
And even if we were to lose at that point, based on the way Supreme Court rules work and based on the flow and pace of federal litigation and where our trial clock was when we originally got our stay in that case, chances of that case moving to trial before the election are slim to nil. I would say essentially zero. So I think this is going to be our last trial before Election Day. I think President Trump's going to have the ability to go out and do what he does best, which is campaign effectively for office.
I think watching all of these things materialize when the primary was still really hot, that what's actually materializing now looks like pulling the inside straight. And it's pretty amazing to think that if these events continue the way you're saying, that this whole thing has collapsed the way it is?
Well, you could say it's pulling an inside straight, but it's more like pulling an inside straight when you know what cards are coming next. Because we knew the strength of our legal arguments, and we knew the weaknesses of the cases we were facing. So we came into this optimistic. We've maintained our optimism, and I think our team is crushing it for President Trump.
Will Scharf, Donald Trump attorney, candidate for Missouri Attorney General, former federal prosecutor, our dear friend here on the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being with us.
Great to be with you guys. Thanks so much for having me.
We appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Hello, it's Mike Carter here. I don't know if you've ever heard of McNair Grade School over in the Hazelwood School District, but Alexander McNair was Missouri's first governor, and he's said to have been the only state official wearing a fashionable cloth coat when Missouri secured its statehood. The year was 1821, and most legislators were dressed in homespun clothes, fringed hunting shirts, and buckskin. Carter law offices are just a few blocks from the first state capitol down on Main Street in St. Charles, and like our state, we've grown over the years. But one thing we've never forgotten is our connection to the people of St. Charles County and our great state of Missouri. I'm Mike Carter, the founder of Carter Law Offices, and I also serve as general counsel to one of the largest employers in St. Charles County, and I'm a past director of the St. Louis Board of Realtors. I also serve as municipal judge for the fastest growing city in St. Charles County, and I have a news talk program on Fox and ABC called Justice and Journalism with me, Judge Mike Carter, where I interview today's state officials and newsmakers. Not many these days are dressed in buckskin, but they do answer to you the same way those elected officials did over 200 years ago. Check them out at MikeCarter.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The White House says there's no change on Lisa Brady, Fox News, that the U.S. commitment to Israel's security remains ironclad as the debate continues over the president's decision not to provide heavy bombs that could lead to heavier civilian casualties in the southern Gaza city of Rafah.
We have not seen a major operation moving forward, but we have concerns that could happen.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says conversations with Israel continue as a shipment of other weapons moves forward. President Biden and former President Trump agree on 2 debates, each accepting a CNN invitation for June and ABC in September, cutting out the Commission on Presidential Debates that's organized them for decades.
There is some more fine print. The Biden team wants microphones only turned on when it is a candidate's turn to speak. And the 2 teams are on opposite sides of audiences.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House. CNN has said their debate will not have an in-person audience. A jury is seated to begin hearing the federal case against New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez.
12 jurors and 6 alternates were picked after attorneys on both sides got a chance to whittle down the prospective group further. Senator Menendez faces charges including extortion, bribery, conspiracy to commit bribery, and to obstruct justice, as well as acting as a foreign agent. He's accused of aiding the government of Egypt and of complimenting the government of Qatar to assist a real estate deal. He's also accused of trying to stop investigations into New Jersey businessmen in exchange for gold bars, cash, and a car. 2 of those businessmen are on trial with him, though the senator's wife, who's also charged, is being tried separately.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Menendez denies any wrongdoing, as he did in 2017 when a trial on separate corruption charges ended with a deadlocked jury. America is listening to Fox News.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password.
For you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream. But it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and under.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Pretty nice Wednesday afternoon, partly sunny skies, 75 should do it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. Evening temperatures take a slow drop out of the 70s into the upper 60s. Clouds moving in after midnight. It's dry tonight, 58 for the low. Thursday, mostly cloudy with increasing showers and thunder showers, 78. Periods of showers and thunder showers Thursday night and Friday, but nothing severe. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mortgage rates have finally dropped. That's right. Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash-out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Do you have any idea how much of your personal information is sold to unscrupulous people online? If you knew, you'd be shocked. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you take back control of your data. Corporations called data brokers make big money compiling important information about you and then selling it to anyone and everyone. Scammers, potential stalkers, identity thieves, and worse. People who can ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers from selling the information which could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they found and removed. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to JoinDeleteMe.com/save and use promo code SAVE at checkout. Go to joindeleteme.com/save and enter code SAVE at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/save, code SAVE.
Point Pest Control, my buddies over there that took care of my spider problem, I want to forward along, and I usually say this at the end of talking about Point Pest Control with you, but I'm going to say it at the beginning because it's key. When you call Point Pest Control and you mention my name, you get to save an extra 10% on top of any other discounts and specials that they might have available. So you call 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023 and say, hey, heard about you on the Annie Fry Show, and whatever kind of opportunities they have for you to save money out there, you're going to be able to use those and add an extra 10% by mentioning the Annie Fry Show. They can help you take care of your mosquito problem. A lot of people spending more time outside these days, and those mosquitoes, what a pain that they can be. Get rid of them with Point Pest Control. You can also have them check out termite problems if you were unfortunate enough to discover some damage from termites, or maybe you've identified some termites. Have Point Pest Control come out and take care of the problem for you. Mention Annie and save 10% extra on top of any other discounts available. 636-798-0023. It's Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
It's what's happening
And there's still no evidence whatsoever connecting Trump with any criminal wrongdoing.
right now.
U.S. weapons aid will not go to Israel.
Keeping you informed.
We have no leadership from Joe Biden.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Shop with the experts. Get a 5-carat certified colorless tennis bracelet for $1,650 set in 14-karat gold. Plus, get 10% off when you use code RADIO10 at cleanorigin.com or one of our 6 locations. Again, code RADIO10 at cleanorigin.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
That pal. Hello, fellow kids. He should have said bro or bruh.
Oh, bruh.
Bruh.
Yeah, he should have gone all in on bruh.
Make my day, bruh.
Make my day, bruh. I love how he's quoting Clint Eastwood. Like, this is what people are into right now.
Yeah.
And plus, Clint Eastwood loves me.
He's the only person who is older looking than Joe Biden.
Yeah, right. He's doing a comparison.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
The YouTube live chat poll for today: can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? You might remember when Donald Trump came out and said, listen, I'll debate you anywhere, anytime. And he cleaned the table off and said, no expectations. Just tell me where and when, and I'll be there. Smart move by Donald Trump. And Joe Biden answering the call today, this morning, and saying, okay, let's go. Let's do it. And I'll do 2 debates. I have a lot of theories on where this is going to go. But as of today, I think that it's much more likely that we're going to have presidential debates. And that some of the terms that were listed are that they are not involving the commission on presidential debates or whatever. I do not think that that is harmful to Donald Trump. They want mics to be cut when the other person is speaking. So I guess they don't want Donald Trump to be talking over Joe Biden. But guess what? Neither do I. And they don't want it to be in front of an audience. These are some of the things that are out there. I think it's going to be on CNN, is the June debate. I think that's where the initial invitation is coming from. You think Donald Trump can win under those circumstances? You need to tell us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel what you think. Janine said, I was leaning to yes, and after hearing Will Scharf, a resounding yes. He is super smart and sharp. I agree, and we're grateful that he came on here. Joey said, if Trump can't hear or speak to Joe, it's not a debate. So the question of whether or not they'll be able to go back and forth, I think, matters. But I still would rather. How many times have we watched debates and it's just nobody will shut up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, everybody's like, dumpster fire, this is a mess. And that's the story. I don't really trust CNN to be like fair and balanced. But I would rather have less talking over than free talking over.
I think this helps Trump because, and maybe he would approach this completely differently than he did in 2020, but he would talk over Joe Biden a lot. And so if he's not able to, we've been saying it all along, let Joe just go. Let him go as long as he wants, because he's not going to make a great point. And the longer he goes, especially with no script, he's going to get way out there. I'm really looking forward to it.
I would like to see, they'll never do this, but I would like to see whoever, if it's CNN that does the debate, I would like to see on-screen real-time fact checks in text, so that while Joe Biden is talking, that the Trump campaign can fact check Joe Biden and the Joe Biden campaign could fact check Donald Trump. So that when Joe Biden comes out and says, listen, when I took office, inflation was 9% and I have it down to 3.5% or 3.9%, there's somebody going, actually, and then they can actually say, no, it was like 1.5%, and it went all the way up to 9%. And during your time in office, and you haven't had a net positive effect on the inflation situation in this country. That'll never happen. But I don't need Donald Trump to fact check Joe Biden in real time in his Donald Trump kind of way, because I think Joe Biden, again, I believe that the biggest negative that Joe Biden brings to the table and the presidency is his actual inability to keep up and do the job. And I don't think that speeding him up on whatever it is that they are going to jolt him with before that debate is going to make people go, oh, I was completely wrong about him. He's totally hip and cool, pal.
He said quotes from movies. I've seen movies.
No,
I love movies.
No. Those people have not seen Dirty Harry.
Those are moving pictures.
I haven't seen it.
That's a motion picture.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I only know that that's Dirty Harry because I heard someone say it earlier today.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Make My Day, but I know it more from Ace Ventura than I know it from Dirty Harry.
Yeah. It's been passed down.
Is it a 44 Magnum?
That he's pulling? I have no idea.
Yes.
See, if you don't know that, then you don't know any more than I do. 44 Magnum?
44 Magnum.
And
it's
I
the
only
most
know
powerful
that.
handgun in the world.
I only know that because Ace Ventura does that in the rearview mirror of the car in one of the movies he's in. Jim Carrey's in. I'm almost certain it's Ace Ventura. And he says 44 Magnum. I don't know Dirty Harry. Why would I know? Why would I watch that movie?
Here's the thing. I can't even remember whether. Try to do this.
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
I was going to say, I didn't even think that was Dirty Harry, and I'm glad that you had it ready to go because I was wrong.
wah.
You know it.
Yeah, but I don't know what it's from.
But you don't know and I didn't either.
If my life was on the line and I had to come up with what that was from, I would just be like, Westerns?
I was sitting here while I was whistling it in my head going, the proud, the few, the marine. No. And he said, good, the bad, the ugly. I'm like, that's it.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
Yeah. So it's cultural, but not necessarily that we've all. And I think I have seen both those movies. It's just been a long time.
It's weird when you're the middle generation, which we are becoming the middle generation. It's weird when you realize that we were babies when Ronald Reagan was the president. And so the things that we know to be history and old, the truth is that we were alive for what is now considered history and old.
Yeah.
9/11 is considered history and old. People who are learning in school right now about history are learning about 9/11 the way we learned about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
People who are learning about historical events, we were alive for those historical events. And that's not the way you think of history. You think of history as being pre-you, even though you might be in modern history. Then factor in the point that Joe Biden is like history's history. That's not relatable. And when he comes out and tells you that the policies that he has, you know, whether you really understand it or not, are really good for you, a lot of people are just going, no, they're not. And I mean, that's in and of itself enough to earn Joe Biden a no vote. That doesn't mean it goes to Trump. And I'm watching Donald Trump persuade some of those people because of his consistent message coming out in front of a podium and saying, this is a sham. I should be campaigning and I'm not. His campaign is that he should be campaigning. It's that simple. And he's right about it. It's a winning message. And the more, like, I don't know, maybe the inside straight draw is going to happen here on these legal challenges that he faces, and he's going to be freed from being in the courtroom, and it's actually going to be a detriment to him. I doubt that. But it sure looks like the house of cards, so to speak, that the Democrats and the Biden campaign and the Biden DOJ have set up against Donald Trump is not panning out. And I truly believe that it was initially laid out to keep him from running, and he just decided, as I previously said before, like the orange Kool-Aid man, to bust through the whole thing and say, you know, no, I'm still here. I'm still standing. And watching, I think pretty much everybody but Nikki Haley, who challenged Donald Trump in the primary, has come out and actively worked in one way, shape, or form to support Donald Trump, knowing that this is what has to happen. Any VP suspects?
I have a dark horse VP candidate.
Okay.
It's Mike Johnson.
I don't think so. Why?
Ooh, that is a dark. You're right. That's a dark horse candidate.
one.
It's about as wide of horse as you can get.
Yeah.
Because he appeals to that anti-Trump, not anti-Trump in the sense that people who hate Trump, but anti-Trump in the counterbalance of Trump.
I look at I think Mike Johnson would be the beige horse. Boring. Yeah. What, are we going to win Louisiana now?
I mean,
is it Alabama or Louisiana?
It's Louisiana.
Louisiana, yes. But he is essentially kind of like Mike Pence.
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good comparison.
He won the
for you,
first
though.
time.
Yeah, but then they parted ways. They parted ways on bad terms.
Yeah, but he didn't select Mike Pence the second time. Mike Pence was just the default.
And the end of it.
Here's a really weird comparison.
Hold on a second. What benefit would Mike Johnson bring to the ticket? What other than the fact that he is completely boring, which might be the benefit?
I mean, he's good at what he does. Whether or not people choose to acknowledge that or not, Mike Johnson is good at being the speaker. One of the things that I pointed out with Mike Johnson to some people was the play that everybody's mad at Mike Johnson about with the money and not getting the border and all that other stuff. That was baked in. The bet was that the Democrats would be willing to secure the border because they cared about Ukraine enough that they would bend on the border. But they want the border open so bad that they were willing to let Ukraine fall. And then whenever Ukraine falls, they just blame that on the Republicans, which would be really easy because they have a complicit media. So the only play Mike Johnson had was to make sure that Israel got funded.
That's way too in the weeds for the American people, though. You've got MTG people and you have non-MTG people.
You're right. But what I'm saying is you ask what he has. He's good at his job.
That doesn't matter.
I don't have my VP pick is I think it's going to be somebody we're not talking about right now. I just think
That'd
it's
be
going to be
anybody but Mike Johnson and Pence.
Yeah, but I mean the names that are floated. I don't think it'll be Ramaswamy. I don't know that Trump knows. That's the thing. Is that I don't know that he's got somebody picked out and he's just kind of playing this game. I think he's going to delay this for as long as possible and have people kind of rise and fall the whole way. He waited on Kristi Noem. That looks like that was probably a pretty good move. If he had announced that, he'd be having to do damage control right now. So I think he's just going to wait, and it'll be whoever's the flavor of the moment at the time he has to pick.
I have heard Trump say, I believe, didn't he say that the person who he picks as his vice president should be ready to be the president?
Mm-hmm. I sure hope so.
I think that matters more. I think that in a pick like 2016, when you're looking at 8 potential years, you're not thinking that because you're thinking about the person who's not going to get in your way, who's going to support your cause, who's going to serve at the pleasure of the president. Those things can't be excluded from the conversation. It has to be somebody who's willing to work in the system that you are setting out. It can't be somebody who's going to be a turncoat on you in the middle of the process or somebody who you can't 100% fully, completely trust is on board with your, America First approach to things. It's possible that you don't have too strong of a personality that gets in there, but I think that directly conflicts with the idea that that person could then become the president of the United States. You can't have somebody who's a no-namer or who is beige, so to speak, who also can then be charismatic enough to fill in and get the 8 more years so that the America First agenda is protected for 8 more years after you leave office. How quickly did everything that Donald Trump did in his presidency get turned on its head because the next person in charge wasn't invested in continuing it, in fact, was invested in destroying it. So I think it does matter. I don't think Mike Pence was ever presidential material. Not realistically, maybe in a movie, but not in real life. So I think that's probably the main part of the struggle is how do you pick somebody who's going to protect the work you're going to put in for 4 years if you get elected, who also is able to check the ego enough to be VP before the president.
The whole Florida thing aside, let's say they figured out that part of it. Is there any chance?
It's not exclusionary. Everybody wants to say, oh, they can't because they're from Florida. There are ways that can be managed.
So is there any chance that once they figure that out, that it ever could be Ron DeSantis?
Yes.
Would you just fall out of your chair?
No, I would leave for joy.
I would. I would be amazed.
It's the dream ticket.
I agree. Like we got into this whole debate for like a year. There was a year of DeSantis versus Trump. That would be the best possible ticket, partially because of 2028.
I actually do believe that Ron DeSantis has the ability to be the vice president.
I do too.
And I don't really feel the same about Vivek Ramaswamy because I've never seen him run anything. He's run businesses. He's certainly run companies. Hasn't he been in pharmaceuticals and stuff like that? He certainly knows how to run that. But if you're at the top and you're running that, that's not what this is. I think that Ron DeSantis is a wizard when it comes to understanding the mechanical means to get stuff done. And I think that the ability for Donald Trump not having to run for re-election with a guy like Ron DeSantis on the ticket in a position to get done the America First agenda, which is the same. I mean, I don't think that there was ever, maybe I'm wrong, I'm trying to scan through my memories here, but did Ron DeSantis ever campaign on a directly conflicting policy from Donald Trump? He was the electable Donald Trump. That was his campaign. Mm-hmm. And America said, nope, it's not your turn. Sit down, DeSantis. And he did eventually. And honestly, I said this on the show, DeSantis needs to win Iowa or go home. And that is exactly what he did. And he has since met with Trump. He has since fundraised or committed to fundraise for Donald Trump. He is on board, even in the midst of everything that Donald Trump individually did to end Ron DeSantis' campaign. Trump did that to DeSantis, and DeSantis is back in the game to support Donald Trump for president. I think it's absolutely possible. I think Ron DeSantis could absolutely do it. And I really think you made this comment to an extent, Ryan, and somebody on here agreed with you, that Donald Trump can afford to sit and watch these people he might be interested in take themselves out of the running.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good move because the longer he doesn't announce, the more it's a topic of curiosity for everybody. the media and I think everybody in the country is kind of curious as to who he'll pick, partially because of the DeSantis thing, and partially because of all these people that he kind of makes these public feuds with, and then he reconciles with. You're like, that's actually like interesting, dramatic politics.
What policy has Donald Trump come out with in this campaign that flies the most in the face of what conservatives stand for? There's one dramatic one.
In this campaign?
Yes. Abortion.
Okay, yeah, that's the one.
Name a VP candidate that is a stronger record on being pro-life. You want to talk about potentially pulling pro-life voters back into the fray? Like if you think that you're going to not show up to vote for Donald Trump as a protest on behalf of being pro-life and contributing one more vote to Joe Biden, you're doing this wrong.
You're just going to make it worse.
Come see the state of Illinois if you want to know what that looks like. It's a disaster. But the number one thing that Donald Trump has politically said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going there. Leave it to the states. Pan over to Florida. There's Ron DeSantis, like a boss. I'm for it. There's possibility. There's always possibility until it's done. And even then, who knows?
It would really be political theater. And all DeSantis would have to say is, they go, oh, you guys hated each other. And he'd go, no, we didn't hate each other. We were fierce competitors.
Yeah.
We're both hard-headed. We're both super determined. And that's why we'll actually work well together.
Yeah, especially if you know that at the end, the goal here was to represent the American people.
Yeah.
And the Constitution, which is what a republic is. Let's take a quick break. Get your vote in on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? Yes or no? They've agreed to do it twice. The first one coming in as quick as June, which is before election season even begins. Imagine that. It's big news today. We'll be right back.
Was it something you left behind? Don't you remember everything I said when I said don't fall away, leave me to myself, don't fall away, and leave life lay down at my hand.
Well, I love Michael's Flooring Outlet. I love them because they've been such good supporters of this station, and we have been so grateful to have that relationship with Michael's. Good people from here in St. Louis that have made sure that when you're going to purchase flooring, that you have a place to go that is locally owned and operated, that's invested in quality and value at the same time. That matters because your hard-earned dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. And when you are looking for something where you don't want to sacrifice quality for value, you need to find a place that is going to commit to that. And Michael's Flooring Outlet absolutely has done so. They provide a whole array of different selections of flooring. They have multiple locations across St. Louis for you to shop. You can also go online if you're looking to begin the quest to replace the flooring in your home, to add flooring in your home, maybe finishing the basement, even for commercial projects. They are there to help you with that. You can go to igotfloor.com and request an estimate right now. You can look at the different products that are available, and you can even read different reviews that customers like yourself have left for Michael's Flooring Outlet and can add to my endorsement of them as well. If you're interested in purchasing flooring in the St. Louis area, please consider Michael's Flooring Outlet in St. Charles County, West County, or Darien Prairie online at igotfloor.com.
Hey everyone, Boomer Esiason here. The NFL draft is behind us and your favorite team is now gearing up for week number 1. The free Odyssey app puts you right in the middle of the pro football conversation with the biggest sports radio stations from across the country. The local voices who know your team the best, giving you their unfiltered takes on the current state of your squad. It's always football season on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Download it today.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Attention, are you or a loved one suffering complications after taking Ozempic or Wegovy? These medications may be linked to serious gastrointestinal illnesses. If you've been hospitalized and diagnosed with gastroparesis, chronic vomiting, deep vein thrombosis, or experienced intestinal blockage requiring surgery, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call 888-900-LAW-1 today for a free consultation. That's 888-900-LAW1. Paid for by Tort Defenders. Tort Defenders is not a law firm and does not provide legal services.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Well, I'm excited to be able to talk to you about the beautiful custom-made necklace that I'm wearing right now from the Diamond Shop. My husband partnered with Tom to get me this beautiful cross necklace, a silver necklace. And it's one of the many things that they will do for you at the Diamond Shop, which is customize something for you. I highly encourage you to put yourself and the trust that you have for something beautiful for yourself or somebody else into the hands of Tom at the Diamond Shop. Right now, through the end of May, they have 30% off all in-stock jewelry. And if you go online and become a VIP, you just go to thediamondshop.net, scroll all the way to the bottom of the website. You are going to be able to fill out a quick form there and be a Diamond Shop VIP. This is going to save you an extra 10% off. A very, very good savings for you there. But enjoy that 30% off all in-stock jewelry. If you have an engagement or wedding ring that you'd like to purchase in the future, fine jewelry, watches, now's a great time to go in and check out these great deals. Plus, they offer 6 months, same as cash. You can find all the details online at thediamondshop.net.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is your home for Democracy 2024. And St. Louis's home for conservative talk can stream on your phone through the Odyssey app. Democracy 2024. Tell your smart speaker to play it. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We were talking a bit about VP picks and who Donald Trump might select. What about Aaron Rodgers?
People are like, how can Trump have such support? Well, people are fed up with it. And he speaks the rhetoric of like taking back, making America great again and stuff. My thing is he had 4 years to do it and didn't drain the swamp. And whether he just got scared because of what he learned when he was in there, I think is very plausible. But that's why I was interested when Bobby came to me and said, would you think about being my running mate? And I said, are you serious? I'm a football player. But I love this country, and I'd love to be a part of, bringing it back to what she used to be.
Aaron Rodgers as a vice presidential candidate on a third-party ticket is weird. I don't really know what Aaron Rodgers represents politically. And you see so many people that are in pop culture, whether it's entertainment or sports or music or even weirdly kind of in news. What is the qualification to run for president or vice president? Like, do you need to have some sort of political acumen? Donald Trump certainly didn't have any political experience. He had a lot of business experience. And I keenly recall before Donald Trump ever got in the race that people were like super sick of the Mitt Romney-like polished conveyor belt Republican candidacy. They wanted something that was raw. Then they got it and they're like, put it back.
Yeah, we need a businessman to run this country. Oh, wait, there's a businessman running the country.
Who's the most businessman-y businessman out there?
Yeah. Who's on TV talking about business and in movies because he's a businessman?
With gold-plated toilets.
Who's a very successful, wealthy businessman in the public eye? Let's get that guy. Oh, wait, it was that guy. I don't know that there's anything that I would say is a criteria for me to vote for somebody for president. I would like them to be politically minded, but I can't imagine somebody running for president who's not already pretty well versed in the political world. But having previous office experience is not a prerequisite for me.
I mean, if you see how much time it took Donald Trump way too much time to understand where the snakes were. But you can't, that's part of the deal. If you're going to have somebody come in who doesn't know how the swamp functions and or how deep the swamp might be, or just the bureaucracy, if you don't want to call it swamp, just the way Washington, D.C. operates. I mean, you can ask Jason Chaffetz. He wrote a book about it called The Puppeteers, the people who run Washington. And that's a real, actual thing. And how can you ever know? I mean, the amount of questioning that Donald Trump, I'm certain, has to go through in life, he would have to question everything. Michael Cohen playing these tapes of recordings between Donald Trump and Michael Cohen when Cohen was his attorney. He even says in part of his testimony, like Cohen says that Trump didn't like email because he didn't trust email, or even phone calls in certain instances, because you never know who's watching or listening. I mean, that's always the way Trump has been. How would he ever trust anybody ever? I don't know. I don't think you could. So if you're somebody who goes into D.C., you're just going to have so many blind spots if you haven't been there. And then the question is if you've been there and you know where all the blind spots are and you realize how maybe some of those could be helpful, then you're going to be unlikely to remove the blind spots.
It's one of the things I'm the most excited about. If he was like that before being president, he would have to be like one of the most paranoid people on the planet after going through the almost 8 years now that he's gone through. And that's why I think if he gets in for this next term, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be calm. While he is sort of the stability candidate for the country, some of the reason that we would get stability is that he would go through and clean out areas that he would not have been able to do if he had not waited 4 years to get his second term. He knows much more now than he did then.
You know what's interesting to me is in that clip, Aaron Rodgers says, and this is to your point, Ryan, that he had 4 years to clean out the swamp or to drain the swamp. Is it even possible to do that in 4 years, even if Trump knows where all the bodies are buried? Because every time he tried to fire somebody, every time he tried to remove somebody, every time he tried to undo something, it was met with a lawsuit, and it absolutely froze everything where it was. Not only that, how far and how many and who are all the people that actually need to go? It's not like you can just fire the entire FBI. The FBI does serve a purpose in the United States. The CIA does serve a purpose in the United States. All of these agencies do serve a purpose. There are some that could go.
But they're corrupted.
And how do you get to all of the corruption and get it all out? And is that even possible to do in 4 years?
Well, let's ask, Clinton political advisor George Stephanopoulos about this.
That was my favorite part about doing the book. I interviewed about 100 duty officers from the White House. And these are people that come, they're relatively young, people who come from all over the government, the CIA, the DIA, Defense Department, military. And, you know, some people like to call those people the deep state.
Deep state.
Well, the big thing I learned doing this book is that the deep state is packed with patriots. People who go to work every single day on the front lines of the most intense crises the country faces and do it to serve their country and to serve the presidency, not the president. They don't care about political parties.
You have this statement here that Stephanopoulos is really using to defend what is referred to as the deep state. And I just don't believe Stephanopoulos when, if you factor in the ends justify the means here, do each of those individual people who are a part of this bureaucracy have the ability to make their own judgment as to whether or not the, idea that you would be serving at the pleasure of the president? He's saying you serve at the pleasure of the presidency, not the president. And if they individually choose that what the president is doing is wrong, that they can act differently? No, the response is to resign, is to leave. If you don't believe in what the president, who has been duly elected by the American people, is asking for you to do, then you leave, and then you can make a big stink about it. You can make noise about it. You can expose whatever that is to the world. That's fine. But you can't unilaterally choose to act in opposition to the man that was elected, the woman that was elected, if that be the case, in that office, because that is how we remain a republic. The idea that the people who are chosen to represent us are there to serve that purpose. You cannot have a bureaucracy that is in place that can deem for themselves to do differently because they have a particular opinion. They either serve at the pleasure of the president or they leave. And if you want to make a difference, if you want to make a change, you need to resign and you need to expose. You need to be a whistleblower. You need to go out and make sure that the people in Congress hear what you have to say so that the American people can know about it. You don't get to unilaterally act on your own accord in opposition to the people who are sent to Washington, D.C. to represent us, because it is we, the people, that actually matter in that equation. And George Stephanopoulos there, the idea that there are patriots serving in what he kind of, from a sidebar, calls the deep state, the bureaucracy that is there regardless of who the president is. Of course there are patriots there. I mean, that in and on its surface, we can agree that patriots are serving there. It's not like everybody who serves from presidency to presidency is somehow or another a treasonous, backstabbing deep state or swamp creature. Probably the majority of them are really good people who love the institution of a republic government, care about our country, and want to see what's best for it. And they probably have political opinions like the rest of us do. But the idea that you would come out in the way George Stephanopoulos is coming out, it's absolutely necessary for the Democrats to continue on the trajectory they're headed on, for them to uphold the idea that Donald Trump is dangerous and that his election to the presidency in 2016 and potentially here in 2024, that there are circumstances where people should be able to act out on their own patriotism in their own interest because it's just what justifies the end. It doesn't surprise me that he's saying it. And I don't believe him when he says the deep state is packed with patriots, that he means it the way I would mean it if I said it. Doesn't surprise me either. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get the results to our YouTube live chat poll. It's kind of resounding, the response that is coming in so far. Make sure you get your vote in. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? Yes or no? Let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We had Will Scharf in studio in the 1 o'clock hour. If you missed it, we talked a lot about politics and about the lawsuits that Donald Trump is facing. You can check those out at the Annie Fry Show podcast. We would love to have you there. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. When you use the Bagel Loan to get your mortgage, guess what? No closing costs, no fees. They don't happen. They're not there. They don't show up later. They're gone. Thousands of dollars back in your pocket, likely. When you use the Bagel Loan, that's only available at Stewart's American Mortgage. My friend Stewie is there to guide you through the process, just business the old-fashioned way, where you are going to get to talk to him and the amazing people at his business here, located in St. Louis, of course, but he is nationally recognized because he does such a great job because of the opportunity to offer you the Bagel Loan. It's one of the best deals in the game. When you are looking to get a mortgage, when you talk to Stewie, you can call him or text him directly at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Talk to Stewie, tell him Annie sent you and said something about a bagel loan. I have used the bagel loan twice myself to refinance and make sure that I secured lower rates as they came across. 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
Serving my country required sacrifice that changed my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember the narrow doorways, the small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
The YouTube live chat poll of the day: can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? That's been the news of the day. June 27th will be the first debate between those two. We want to know whether he can win, in your opinion. Yes or no? Let us know. That's the YouTube live chat poll of the day. It is 2:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. I have a request for you. The next time you hear someone talking trash about St. Louis, straighten your spine, look them in the eye, and say, she's in the middle of a renaissance. You know how I know that? Tish, the mayor, told me that last night in her State of the City. And we're going to talk about it after 3.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
I'm smiling, looking at this photograph. I hear that song and I'm flying right back to when we had it made. Every Friday night when the sun went down, we'd be running them streets like we owned the town. And I just can't let it go. No, I just
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Did you try out of those phrases that you taught us yesterday about being happier? Did you try those out since you went through the list?
Yeah, I tried them on you guys, and they failed.
Did they? You don't feel happier because of it?
No, I didn't think you guys. I feel fine. I didn't think you guys gained any happiness out of that.
Would you like to tell me more?
No, not really, and that's one of the reasons I don't think that this worked. We try though. It's all about the attempt, and that's what I want credit for.
Is it harder to be happy now than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
It's harder to be blissfully ignorant. So yes.
Do you only associate happiness with ignorance?
Yes.
Okay.
As personal experience. Yes, I do. No, I mean, we've said it before. You have to be more engaged now because the culture war has infiltrated areas that you used to be comfortable not having to really battle in, but now you got to battle so much more. Doesn't mean that you're less happy.
You don't
have to. I guess you don't have to, but you're saying I'm going to lose this battle.
Not if you're not fighting it.
I think what I'm saying is it's coming into places where it wasn't. If like the culture war, it's coming into your schools, stuff's coming after your kids in ways that it wasn't 20 years ago, and you do have to engage in it. It's not necessarily pleasant.
I mean, you mentioned schools there. I just don't send my kids to public schools. When I hear people talking about things that are taking place in public schools, I just ask myself, like, why? I understand there's a financial barrier to being able to send your kids to something other than public school, but boy, is it worth it. And I know people who have sacrificed greatly. I've had my kids in Lutheran school for a long time and had various incomes over that time, and it definitely can be an instance where I know in my family we do things and we don't do things because that's at the top list of priorities. But you take out that type of a battle, like I don't want to fight that battle. Not with my kids. I'm not putting my kids in the middle of that, and I'll sacrifice what I need to sacrifice, which is why I send them to Lutheran schools. I think that people don't look at Lutheran schools. I think that they categorize Lutheran schools to be very similar to other types of parochial schools, and they're very different. I think that Lutheran schools are very accommodating to people who want to look at something that is not public school. I think it's much more affordable than people believe it to be, and I think all around people tend to have a kind of surprisingly positive experience if they choose to make that the personal financial sacrifice to make that happen. But it's, if you're looking to find happiness, you can look for negative things everywhere. But I just choose not to participate in. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm a huge Cardinals fan, and they don't bring me happiness right now. So I participate less. That's a choice that I'm making.
Yeah.
I understand the situation that is there. I'm still a Cardinals fan. I still want the best for them. I don't care if there's anyone out there that wants to measure how much of a fan I am, because none of that actually matters. But just like that or anything else in the world, like, you have to choose your battles. And I think that the thing that we need to get back to is choosing our own battles and not letting other people place them in front of us and think, oh gosh, I got to fight this one too. And now I got to fight this one too. And like, cancel culture has really pushed us, all the virtue signaling that has taken place over the last 10, 15 years, where you immediately have to have some visible example of where you stand on any issue that anyone wants to put in front of you at any given time. And if you don't show that virtue, you will be yoked with the worst possible version of the negative side of that thing. Maybe not. Maybe just no. Maybe I'm just not participating in that. Maybe I'm not going to fight your battle. Maybe the thing that you want to saddle around me, or that I might be interested to saddle around you, like, maybe we don't have to bear those burdens, and we can fight the battles that are important to us, that we feel like are necessary and unavoidable. But I think a lot of the things that we allow into our psyche that kind of drag us down are actually more avoidable than maybe we initially consider. Because there's a lot of people trying to force you to have opinions on things and to have the correct opinion on thing, which is determined by somebody else. Like, who are the capital T they that get to make those decisions?
Yeah, I think I'm also unnecessarily correlating happiness with not fighting. because you can absolutely have happiness and joy while in midst of the battle.
You can absolutely be a joyful warrior.
Right. I think what I'm saying more is like peaceful. You're not going to be as peaceful in the midst of these things. You're not going to have that, but you can have peace. You're not going to be as like I originally said, blissfully happy or ignorant and happy, but you can have joy. So these are deeper things, I think, than just the surface things that you can have in the midst of trials and tribulations.
In Washington, D.C., across from the White House, I can't remember what the actual street's name is because it was labeled Black Lives Matter Drive or Lane or something like that. It's right by the Episcopalian church where Donald Trump stood next to it with the upside-down Bible. And at least he had the Bible and was willing to go out and stand with it, which is, kind of the high point of what I consider. I was very proud of him for doing that. I know a lot of people criticized him for doing that, like, oh, it's a photo op. I'm like, yeah, but just because it's if something is an opportunity to take a photo, that's an opportunity to make a statement. That isn't inherently anything bad. And
yeah, everything's a photo op. You're the president.
If people say you're just doing that for the photo, if he doesn't do that, then they're saying he hasn't done anything. It's just like, shut up, I can't handle it. But I was standing out there, and I looked up, and it says Black Lives Matter Lane or Boulevard or something. And then I looked down, and they still have Black Lives Matter painted on the street there. And I just thought, still, like this movement didn't really end up being about how much Black Lives Matter.
No.
It was not about that at all. It was a big grift. And a lot of people got really passionate over that. A lot of people who were really well-intended, who really wanted to fight for equality, got involved in that, donated a lot of money, and they were totally used. And it's still painted here? Okay.
Yeah, it's been really interesting watching amidst these college pro-Palestinian protests. Watching, it's like the same people. You have the same groups funding the same people for just the new cause. And it's like a lot of people have woken up to that fact, not to use the word woke, but seen through all this stuff and said, oh man, I see what you're doing now. I see that every time this ball rolls around, you're just right there under it, ready to roll and ready to knock everything down.
I feel like the intent, saying Black Lives Matter is such a politically charged phrase, but it's an obvious sentence. And pushing out the sentence Black Lives Matter in a way that becomes politically charged and using it to make money and then not using the money to prove that Black lives really do matter, it really disgusts the whole thing and it taints the whole thing. And the sentence still does matter. When I saw that street sign, it didn't make me mad. I was just like, oh.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And then I pivoted over and I looked on the street and I could see that. I mean, it's been repainted many times. And I just thought, okay.
You in America.
Yeah. Can Trump win a presidential debate under Joe Biden's terms? That was our question to you. 85% of you said yes, which is pretty exciting to see. So thank you for participating in that poll today. Had 200 votes on that one, and happy to relay that message back to you, Mark Reardon, on 97.1 FM Talk. Next.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Do you have any idea how much of your personal information is sold to unscrupulous people online? If you knew, you'd be shocked. But joinDeleteMe.com